to me. Love like we're never sober. Wake up, but we're older tonight. We're kings and queens. about to even the score. Get ready, like nothing you've seen before. Get ready, I'm about to even the score. Get ready, like nothing you've seen before. Get ready, yeah.
Touched my skin and left your mark. You knew all the words till you had no more. I'm sure yours don't mention me. I remember how we were before. It don't feel like memories. Why can't I get over you? Your love is a fire, it's still high on the fumes. I've done everything I know I can do. I'm still alive on you, I'm still alive, I'm still alive on you, I'm still alive. Why can't I get over you? Your love is a fire, still high on the fumes. I've done everything I know I can do. I'm still alive on you, I'm still alive, I'm still alive. Do you ever ask what if? Do you almost call? Am I the only one who feels crazy? 'Cause I still miss it all. Why can't I get over you? Your love is a fire, it's still high on the fumes. I've done everything I know I can do. I'm still alive on you, I'm still alive on you.
Yours, here right now. The kind of night we dream about. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh, oh. It's beautiful. Yeah. Time flies when you get it right. So hold on tight to me. Love like we never grew up, and live like you just get one tonight. We're kings and queens. One blink and it's over. Wake up and we're older tonight. We're kings and queens. Stop, take a breath, close your eyes, remember this. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh, oh. It's beautiful. Love like we never grew up, and live like you just get one tonight. We're kings and queens.
Touched my skin and left your mark. You knew all the words to say. Held the strings tied to my heart. Pulled then pushed away. My friends don't bring you up no more. I'm sure yours don't mention me. I remember how we were before. It don't feel like memories. Why can't I get over you? Your love is a fire, still high on the fumes. I've done everything I know I can be. I still love on you.
Hey, good evening, everybody. And this is Carl. Welcome to Carl's Opinion. Hey, let's move this over a little bit. Alrighty, let's get this camera adjusted a little bit better here. There we go. Anyway, how you guys doing? And just want to welcome everybody to the Sunday night edition of our Roundup. It's a live call-in show. There's a call-in number right there, area code 775-273-8970. And so, yeah, the phone lines will be open, and we'll take some phone calls, and we'll get to some news right away here. And so let's kind of get to it, and let's see what we got here. All righty. So what do we got going on for tonight? Tonight we're going to be talking about, among other things, immigration. Let's get that story up right here. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and cut across and take a look at it here. And let's see what we got. Of course, on the wrong side again. Let's go ahead and bring me over here. All right. Yeah, headline, illegal immigration on Mexico border on pace for worst year since wall building spree in 2007. That says quite a bit. Worse since 2007. And let's take a look at this actual story. What we got? Got a new surge going on at the border. And according to the headline from the Washington Times, illegal immigration across the southwest border is on pace for the worst year since 2007, or the last time the country began a massive wall-building spree, according to the new Homeland Security numbers. 4 months into the fiscal year, the Border Patrol nabbed nearly 201,500 people, compared to about 109,500 at the same point in the previous year. That's an 84% surge. If that 84% surge holds, it would work out to 733,000 migrants crossing illegally for fiscal year 2019, which would be by far the highest number in more than a decade. And, they say we don't need a wall. I mean, look, if you want to just say we want illegal immigration, just come out and say it. Say, look, we want illegal immigration. We don't want any borders. We just want anybody to come across. Why are we wasting men and material down on the border if the Democrats really don't want to stop the flow of illegal immigration? Not to mention, we're putting all these men's lives at risk. They had a little barrier between them, kind of gives them a few minutes to kind of, stop and think, catch your breath as they see somebody jumping over a fence, in lieu of just kind of coming right at them really quick. But it appears that nobody seems to care about that, and that's pretty amazing. It's pretty remarkable, actually. They're like, oh, we're just going to keep those guys down there, but we really don't want to stop anybody, even though they know they're risking their lives. And yeah, we could give you a barrier to protect you, as in like also protecting our country. But no, you're just on your own, just out in the open by yourself. And they know how many Border Patrol agents we don't have. They know how many miles and miles of border there is, how many square miles there is just inland from the border, where they have to chase these people down. They know the number of drugs that are coming across. Nobody can argue with that. And for whatever reason, they just don't seem to care. Oh, hey, Laura, how you doing? There's our little chat up here to Laura. Laura. Boom. So yeah, but it doesn't appear they they seem to care. So it's really sad, you know. So and that's where we are now, and hence the numbers. Let's see. In the new surge, and the new surge is comprised of migrant families and children, which are much tougher population to combat, thanks to U.S. policies imposed by Congress and the courts that make it tougher to deport them. Exactly. So in other words, Congress and the courts are saying, hey, look, you can't deport them. Well, the courts are saying, okay, you can't break up the families, okay, under this settlement agreement they came up with years and years ago. And the way the court interprets it says, okay, you can't break up families for more than a certain amount of time. You have to keep them together. Then Congress says, okay, we're going to limit you on the number of beds and the number of people you can actually keep in custody. So, and then, of course, there's not enough judges, not enough funding for judges, immigration judges, so that the hearings can go by quickly. So Congress knows what they're doing. The Democrats know what they're doing. And a lot of Republicans, too. Don't get me wrong. A lot of Republicans know what they're doing, too. So they don't give them enough money for judges and for courtrooms and for hearing rooms. And then at the same time, they don't give them enough money for the beds to be able to house these people until their deportation hearing. And they know the courts are on them, that they can't, house them like, in a really bad way, like where they got 50 people in a room, or like they can't be in cages. God forbid the press sees it. I mean, the press saw it in 2014, and that was okay. That was President Obama. No big deal, nothing to see here. That picture only surfaces, gets headlines, during Trump's years because they thought Trump did it. So anyway, so they cut down the number of beds, the number of people you can house, and through the funding and the appropriations, and then the courts say, yeah, you can't deport somebody right away, and they also cut down the number of judges, and so then what do we have? We go back to where we were, catch and release. So it's just a question of numbers, and the people down in Mexico and Central America know this, and the people funding them up here know this. So the whole point of these caravans is to overwhelm the system, so they're forced to release them. They don't have time to get them deported, with due process. They're seeking out an asylum claim, and they can't house them because they don't have the beds and the funds to be able to do so. So they have to release them into the general population, general public. And they know what happens then. They don't show up for their hearing because they give them a hearing date 6 months from now. So they come back in 6 months. Well, they never come back. They go into society. They generally go into Spanish-speaking areas where they can blend in, and they can find mutual compatriots who are going through the same thing. It will help hide them and feed them, and get them jobs, working under the table, get them phony Social Security numbers, other people's identifications, where they can use to get credit cards, get credit, run up credit, buy vehicles, whatever, what have you. When you go to buy a car, nobody's checking for your immigration status. I mean, they don't care. I mean, it's not their job either. I mean, they're not supposed to do that. You can buy a car. Next thing you know, the guy gets in a car accident and doesn't have insurance, and next thing you know, your name's on it, and suddenly you're getting a bill for this card, for the accident, and everything else. But there you go. So, and let's see what else the story goes on to. Family units and unaccompanied children from Central America are crossing the border illegally in greater numbers and in larger groups than ever before. I mean, this is all the Democrats, and then all the George Soros funding of the immigrant rights groups and stuff like that. Going down there, giving these people money to get through Mexico, get to the border, and they make the illegal crossing. Pay off the coyotes, pay off the cartel. That's what these immigrant groups don't. I mean, well, they do realize this is really disgusting. They know that when they're paying for this illegal border crossing, they're paying the coyotes, they're paying the drugs cartels. I mean, they're giving money to drug cartels. The cartels control that border area, and I don't care. It's not like Jose Smith is like just operating on his own as a coyote. There is no such thing. I mean, he has to pay, the cartel, a big percentage of what he's making, or maybe he pays them all and they give him a salary. I have no idea. But these immigrant groups, they know when they're paying these people for these legal crossings, these coyotes, to take them across, they know that they're giving money over to the drug cartels, which they use to buy weapons, to increase their ability to send more drugs into this country. So they're actually supporting that, and they don't care about that either. So so the whole idea is to overwhelm the system. Congress is sitting back there saying, "Oh, we don't care. This is not who we are. It's not us to build walls. Walls send the wrong message. Yeah, like you're not welcome unless you come through here legally." And again, if Congress wants to change the number, I've said this a million times. Okay, the number right now is 1 million legal We make legal every year. We allow 1 million people in here a year, and a lot of that's and not a lot of it. Some of it's H-1B visas. So I mean, just give us the damn number. I mean, do you want to make it 2 million? Do you want to make it 3 million? Say what the number is. You know, say okay, the number is 2 million. But then we'll say okay, 2 million a year. That's what Chamber of Commerce says. That's what local cities and mayors and governors say they can handle. That's what the everybody looks at as far as what kind of economy we have, what kind of jobs are required, and they say okay, it's like 2.4 million. That's what we need. That's what we need. Forget what somebody else needs. This is what we need in this country. It's 2.4 million legal immigrants per year in these classifications. We say, okay, that's it. We're going to have 2.4 million in these different classifications. And then also we're going to build a wall to keep anybody else out because we can't handle more than 2.4 million. We studied it. We did research on it. We had hearings on it. And we had experts. Some guys said 3.5. Some other guys said 2. Some guys said 2.4. So, they came to a median number, and boom, there's your immigration number. And that's it. And then build a wall, build the security, put everything in place to keep everybody else out. You get the occasional true asylum claims, but that's about it. Oh, hey, none your business. And let's see, who do I got in here? I got Laura. I got none your business. I got Lucky Sport. Hey, you doing? J-Dog, hey, what's up? Talise, hey. No, I am not the father, Talise. I am not the father. None your business again. Laylo. Hey, Laylo. And let's see who else. And Laura, of course. Hey, guys. Thanks for coming over. Stopping by. Here's a phone call, in fact. Laylo, you're on with Carl's Opinion. How you doing?
Hey, Carl. Hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on.
Okay.
All right. Okay. I put everything off. What's up, baby? How you doing, brother?
Doing good. Doing good, man. Yeah, it's funny.
Hey,
go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. No. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, welcome to Carl's Opinion, man. Thanks. I heard you call in on Axe's show earlier.
No. Listen, thank you so much for having me. Of course, all the time. Yes, I was there. By the way, I was just in Nonja live show.
Oh, really?
And we just. Yeah. She actually did it because of me. I asked her to do a live show, so she did it because of me. So thank you, Nanja. Thank you again. I told her.
Okay, because, hold on. Nanya, I'm gonna make sure I subscribe to your channel. I didn't subscribe last night. I was kind of tired when I got done. I forgot, but I'm gonna remember to do it when I get off this. I'll subscribe to your site, hit the notification bell. Yeah, because I definitely want to see your live show. Damn it! I can't believe.
Yeah, you're a bad boy. Yes, you're a bad boy, Carl.
That's awful.
No, but listen. No, I'm kidding, man. You're a good guy. But so I asked her to do it because since they took me out for 3 months, so I say, hey, Nanja, do the live show so we can talk. So she did it. So thank you, Nanja. Thank you. But she actually mentioned, hey, I knew you were coming. I got your notification. Oh, by the way, I get your notification. I get it, but I don't get Axe notification. And even when it was Nanja, I didn't get her either. So YouTube is going crazy. I have no idea what's going on with YouTube.
I didn't get Axe's notification either. The reason why I knew what time he was coming on was because when I watched his one of his morning videos, he mentioned he was coming. Initially I thought he said 12 o'clock my time, 12 p.m. my time, 3 o'clock. So I kept an eye out for it, and I still had to go to his channel to find it. It wasn't even in my recommended feed. So because when I went into my homepage and my subscription page, it wasn't there. So then I went to his actual channel, and there it was, and I clicked on it. So yeah, I mean that's just ridiculous. I mean he gave plenty of notice. I mean when you're going to publish a live stream, you can do it a couple of different ways. You can do it like the way I do it, where you actually just you start the stream early and you play music and stuff, and you put a little countdown clock on it yourself. Or you can YouTube will actually do it. You say you can present an hour ahead of time, and it goes up saying set reminder and stuff. So I didn't get a notification for his live stream either. I'm really pissed off about that.
Well, let me say one thing and then I'll keep going. I just want to say hello to everybody here. Everybody, hello. I mean, I don't want to keep saying everybody's name, but everybody here, thank you. Thank you so much for being in Carl's live show, and thank you for being here. I love you guys. Besides that, back go back to the thing we were talking about. Yes, when you send me things, I see. So far, I got you in my email, and I get you in YouTube. You so far I get you, but when it comes to X, I used to get it in both. Now I only get it. Sometimes I get it in the email if he sends emails, because sometimes he doesn't. But YouTube, I don't get it all the time.
Well, that's crazy.
And right now, like, no. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, hey, Black and Irish, hey, GT469, hey, Roro Flicks. How you guys doing?
Oh yeah, they're here. They're all here. Hey, they were in Nanja. They were all in Nanjas, man. I mean,
I feel left out. Damn it.
No. Hey, Carl. They love you too, brother, but you were not on before. That's the whole thing. You were not on, so
right.
They were in Nanja.
No. I mean, I feel left out that I was like the only one not on Nanya's site.
Oh, you didn't know. Subscribe to her, because
well, I am. Yeah.
Let me tell you, she's starting to do it. She's really good. I mean, Nanja is really, really good. I mean, she's great, man. I love her. So give her some time. She's gonna become really famous too. Give her some time.
Really famous too. Yeah, wait. You mean as famous as you? As the great Lilo?
No.
Lilo?
What are you talking about? Me famous? No. Look, by the way, I'm not famous. I'm not looking to famous. I'm just looking for have a good group of good friends and hang out and talk. That's all I'm looking for. I'm not looking for anything else. I'm a very simple person. So
right.
Anyway. But besides that, Carl, yeah, man, we were so happy. I mean, like I said, I saw the thing that you were coming out. So then Nanja and other people mentioned it. I'm like, yeah, let's go over there. So we actually left the channel to come over here, man. We wanted to be here, man. Hey, man, you're fucking great, man. Seriously, you're good, man. You're cool, man. We love you, man. We really love you, brother.
I just want to give a very special shout out then to Nunya for ending her live stream and then coming over here. So thank you very much. That was like really cool. So no, I know you're telling Layla, okay, that's enough. But I'm gonna say, I'm gonna tell Nunya, thank you very much. That was like really, really effing cool. So good deal. Okay, girl, you got it, man. Definitely.
Exactly. All right. So, anyway, what's the topic? All right. So we can talk about what's the topic?
We're talking about immigration, and we were talking about the. I'll pull the story back up again. Let's see here.
What story? What's up?
You don't know.
I mean, immigration.
Yeah, hold on. I'll get to it. Let me see here.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I'll get to it. Here, I'll bring up the headline here. Oh, look, there's a guy climbing the fence. Okay, illegal immigration on Mexico.
Hey, by the way, Carl, you're looking very sexy. What you did to the mustard? Anything different in the mustard?
You know what? Every once in a while, I forget to trim it, and it gets really bushy and stupid.
That's what it is. Hey, everybody's looking at over here, Carl's mustard. He trimmed it. He trimmed that mustard. All right, look at it.
Yeah, you gotta keep it trim.
Hey, Carl, I'm just busting with you. What's up, man?
I know, man. I know.
Okay.
You're crazy. You're crazy. No, you're really cool, man. But yeah, no, I was just
love
talking
you,
about.
Baby. Love you.
All right, back at you, man. But I was just talking about the illegal immigration, and that one article here from the Washington Times is saying illegal immigration on Mexico border is on pace. Let me get hold on. Let me get up here a little more.
Go ahead.
There we go. Illegal immigration. I did it again. Hold on. There we go. Okay. Illegal immigration on Mexico border on pace for worst year since they started building walls in 2007. So basically what happened, I was reading in the story that immigration is up 84% from last year alone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they just caught
80%?
84% increase from last year. And that's because all the Democrats are letting everybody know we're not going to combat.
I know. I agree. Holy shit, that sucks.
Yep.
And that's a lot. That's fucking a lot. Oh.
Yeah, no, and let's see, it's like.
I mean, I know it was bad. I just didn't know it was so bad.
Yeah, I knew it was bad too, but I agree. I didn't know it was that bad too. So basically, for the first 4 months of this year, Border Patrol nabbed nearly 201,000 people.
Hey, you know what? Everybody fucking go to another channel. Fucking Carl just giving bad news, man. We don't want to fucking hear bad news. Fuck, this sucks, man. I'm just kidding, man. Carl, man, it just sucks, man. I know you're right, man. It just fucking sucks, man. Holy shit. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Keep reading it, please.
Yeah.
Keep
so
reading.
so 200. They nabbed just the first 4 months of 4 months into the fiscal year, not the actual calendar year. For the fiscal year, they nabbed nearly 201,000 people compared to 109,000 for the same period in the previous year. So yeah, so 201,000 people got nabbed, and that doesn't tell you how many people came across. I mean, a lot more get across than actually get caught. These are just the people they catch. So I mean, you're talking hundreds of thousands of people a year. Probably 1 million a year illegally actually get through and get into the country. Plus, we let 1 million people in legally every year. And then you get another million, or I don't know, maybe 2 million a year. Who knows? I mean, nobody really knows what the number is because they kind of evaporate into society. And you never see them again. And they get fake social security numbers and stuff.
Hey, Carl, let me just say one thing. Telise, as you listen, baby, listen, I know you are listening. Do me a favor, call Carl, because every time I need some energy, I need somebody to like really say how it is. I need to hear your voice. So please call Carl and tell how it is. Because I swear to God, Telise always. I mean, her heart is like really so big, and every time I hear it, I'm like, oh man, I feel like power. I feel like yes. So please, Telise, if you listen to me, call Carl. Carl, I'm gonna hang up. I'm gonna let other people call, but Telise, please call Carl. Give your peace of mind, baby, because I need your string. Because Carl only gives me bad news. I do not want to get bad news. Hey, Carl, love you, baby. Thank you so much for all the info, and I'll talk to you again, definitely, all right?
All right, Lalo,
I'll be in the chat.
All right, bye-bye.
Love you, baby.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And, of course, that was the great Lalo calling in. It was a great phone call. For Mr. Lalo. Yeah, he didn't like the bad news, but unfortunately, there's just so much bad news out there. We got to get a hold of this illegal immigration problem. I mean, this thing's not going away. I mean, and the Democrats are just making it worse because every time there's this fight and they say, oh, we're not going to do this, we're not going to do a wall, we're not going to do this. When Trump first got into office, just on the threat of, there we go. When Trump came into office, just on the threat that he was going to build a wall and crack down on illegal immigration. Remember that when he first got in, illegal immigration went way down, the first, within 5-6 months of him taking office. Because the word was sent out, to Mexico and Central America, South America, hey, it's not going to be business as usual. And so immigration numbers went way down those first several months. And then, so that was great. And he hadn't even built anything yet. But he said, okay, if you come in, we're going to deport you and stuff like that. And just the threat of that kept a lot of people away. Well, then the Democrats come in and say, well, no, we're not going to, and the Republicans, because remember they had the House and the Senate, and they could have passed even with the, not always needing 60 votes. They could have passed a lot of things. They could have negotiated, with the Democrats on Planned Parenthood, on all kinds of things they wanted, and said, okay, give us money for this, and we'll give you this. But no, the Democrats know the Republicans were never interested in building a wall or increasing border security because most establishment Republicans are in the pockets of billionaires who want a lot of cheap labor, and people living in slave-like conditions, so they can make a lot more money. They don't care about the working class and middle class of America, and that's the problem. So the Democrats and the Republicans start sending the message out, we're not going to build a wall, we're not going to fund anything. And the Democrats are like, we want to abolish ICE, we want to get rid of ICE. Well, people around the world hear all these debates. These Democrats aren't speaking in a vacuum. Other people like in Mexico and Central and South America, they're hearing all this. So they're like, oh, wait, Trump has no power. Trump can't stop us because the Democrats are on our side. And then then all the George Soros, immigrant rights groups, they come down there and they get all these people wound up saying, don't worry, man, if we overwhelm the border with the numbers, they're not going to be able to house us. They're not going to be able to deport us fast enough. They're not going to be able to hear our asylum claims fast enough. And they're going to have to release you into the general public. And after that, you're on your own and you're free. You get your fake Social Security number, fake ID card, the whole 10 yards, and nobody will be able to touch you. So that word spread. So then all of a sudden the numbers start going back up because everybody's like, well, Trump is ineffective. He can't get anything done. The Democrats are going to stop him. Can you turn up your mic for us? Oh, sure. Hold on. Okay, how's that? Oh, there you go. You know what? You're right. That is better. Okay, yeah, I just turned the mic up. So thanks, Roro. Appreciate the tip on that one. Yeah, I had the gain turned down a little too low. And yeah, there you go. Got a phone call coming in. Let's see who this is. Good evening, you're on with Carl's Opinion. Who's this?
Requested to call, so here I am.
Hey, Talise, how you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
Fine. Yeah, I heard you call in on Access Site today. Yeah, it was a good call. Definitely a good call in, without a doubt. So how you do? So how's it going over there? What have you been up to?
Same old same. And I'm in Cleveland, Ohio, so since it's not near the border, we don't get affected as much by illegal immigrants. But even though Cleveland is a Democratic district, Ohio is still a Republican state, so they're not gonna let them get away with it too much. But I have a CDL, so we could take some buses down to the border and put their asses on the bus and take them right back down to where they came from. That's what I do.
Yeah, you probably don't.
I
You probably don't have a lot of illegal immigration in Ohio. It's kind of cold up there, and there's probably not a lot of industry that would attract them either. I would imagine it's not like you have a lot of. I mean, you might have some like meat processing plants or stuff like that, but probably not as much as like Iowa or other places.
Oh no! See, Ohio was big in the industrial area, with the factories and steel mills and all that type of stuff. So yeah, they're not gonna get too many jobs around here. And
Right.
it ain't too many farms they can go work at. As far as construction, I don't really see no illegals on construction crews, but I don't pay attention because honestly I don't give a shit about construction crews because I work in public transportation, so that's what I pay attention to. But and Ohio is an open carry state and a CCW state, so
Yeah, that's like Nevada.
Nevada,
We're both open carry and CCW. I do both. I prefer open carry just because, well, one, Nevada, you can do open carry pretty easily, because the weather's pretty nice for the most part, and then also I just like the deterrent value. I mean, I don't want to have to get into an argument with somebody and say, well, I have a gun, and then testosterone kicks in. Oh, really? Pull your gun. I don't care. Versus they just see the gun. And then they know I got a gun. I don't have to say anything. Then there's no bravado that gets kicked in with it. Nobody has to feel like they have to respond or anything.
Or hearing a click clack always works. I didn't have to do that a couple of times when I was married. My ex-husband had a lot of friends that were shines and Akatas, and they would come over, and I was like, if they don't have nothing on the cable bill, I'm gonna suggest that they leave. And then, looking, what is she going to do about it? Click, clack, 30 seconds, 29, 28, then they disappear.
Yeah, but here comes the countdown clock, Well,
you got a time. You got to go.
Well, that's a shame that you had to go that far. I mean, just to get people out of your own house.
Well, yeah, that's what I said. I mean, I was young when I got married. I mean, I can't blame it all on him. It was my fault for marrying him. But, me and him wasn't compatible, really. I can say that now, but it is what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
But, he could get the click clack too, and he knew it, so he's wherever he's at, and he can be with them illegal immigrants as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
Ship them back.
Yeah, did you watch Axe's video? I know he talked about it a little bit on his live, but did you see Axe's video this morning on those 5 kids in Atlanta, not in Nashville, who killed that up and coming country western singer?
Yeah, I was telling him it reminded me of when this 9-year-old got killed in Cleveland last summer. There was a shootout between 2 groups of 3, and they were all teenagers. She was just sitting in the back seat of her mother's car, and they were shooting at each other, and of course they have no aim, so she got shot in the head and died. And I was telling her everybody loves how LeBron James, he's so woke, but he didn't have nothing to say about that situation. And, a mob boss ended up paying for her funeral. There was no big hoopla, no GoFundMe. It wasn't national news.
Right.
A lot of, little kids get killed around here all the time. 3-year-olds, 5-year-olds, 5-month-old babies.
Well, there was a guy. There's a guy. I can't remember the name of his site, but he used to drive around through a lot of hoods and stuff in different cities. God, what was that guy's name? I can't remember. And anyway, he was in Chicago, and he was talking there were these 8 teenagers, early 20s, in this corner. They were they were drug dealers, and they were sitting on a corner in front of this abandoned house, and they were showing this guy, their guns, in their waistband. One guy pulled out an AR-15, had a 30-round mag on it. And the scariest part of that, video, because he was talking to the kids. First of all, they're all high, they're all loaded. I mean, just totally wasted, and they got all these automatic weapons, or at least semi-automatic weapons. And then with like 2 lots down, there's this little girl playing in her front yard behind like a regular fence, but you could see her playing in the yard. I'm thinking like, Jesus Christ, if somebody comes by and they got to start opening fire, they're all loaded, totally wasted, and they got semi-automatic rifles. The range on the AR-15 is like, effective range is like, 400 to 600 yards for sure, and then even up to 800 yards. And that girl was maybe at most 100 yards away, at most. And I'm thinking like, I mean, she's just in her front yard, and these kids are all standing on the corner.
That's what happens, though. That happens in Cleveland. That's how it was his 5-year-old. He got killed like that. He was in his front yard playing, and these dudes was having a shootout, and they shot him, and he died. And he was 5. That was maybe 2015, and another 3-year-old, he was shot in the chest like that, and there were people aiding in a bed in his killer. It took them years to find his killer. And the 5-month-old baby, her mother put her in the car to take her to the store. They was going to get a cake for the father's birthday, and somebody was shooting, and she ended up getting shot in the chest. And I don't think they ever found her killer. But, the little baby girl died on her daddy's birthday. Stuff like that happened around here. And, these people, that's the catch-22 about, drugs and alcohol, because, me and you may be fine because we just going to sit in our house, but then you got these people, that's what they do. They out on the corner, they getting high, and they driving around, and you can't look at them a certain way, or they want to harass you at the gas station. And
I was down in Las Vegas, and I remember I was driving home one night, and I was coming down this, regular street, and there was this guy in the gas station who was all acting crazy and running around yelling at people, and he was just looking for somebody to respond to him. You could tell, he was all prison tatted up, he had his shirt off, pants hanging down, and he was, big dude too, looked like he lifted a lot of weights, and he was just waiting for anybody in that gas station just to, say something to him. You could tell. I mean, I was driving by, and I'm like, that guy's just looking to get into a fight. That guy's looking to hurt somebody, and he just wants somebody to say, "Hey, man, calm down." That's all it would have taken. I know it, and he was totally wired on something. I have no idea what. And I'm sure the clerk called the cops, and had this guy removed. But I mean, he was probably even hoping the cops would show up so he can get into a fight with them. And that's the problem. Like they always say, well, what are we supposed to do in Chicago? Well, stop and frisk works really good, and it sounds like they're thinking about bringing it back to Chicago. Because if these kids are selling drugs on the corner, well, you have enough reasonable suspicion to know they're selling drugs, or they probably have guns, and that gives you enough to walk up to them and just say, "Hey, man, we're gonna do a pat down on you because we think you got drugs on you, or we think we got guns on you." So you can pat them down, and they know they can't carry guns.
They should. I remember seeing Brandon Tatum's first video before he quit and went to work for Turning Point. His first video was his response from going to a Trump rally. But he was talking about his red pill moment was Obama demonizing police officers. And I have a cousin that's a lieutenant and on the Cleveland police force. And like I was saying earlier on Axe's show, the police is out here killing black people. What you gonna do with the cops? I said, I don't deal with police because I don't commit crimes. So I don't care what the police do. The only thing I've ever dealt with the police on is a traffic violation. And I have a gun in my center console, and they know it because they put it on your license plate. All you have to do is yes, sir, yes, ma'am, no, sir, no, ma'am. And most of the time, they won't even give you the ticket if you're polite enough.
Well, yeah, so, I mean, you don't have to turn it. You don't have to turn every traffic stop into like a civil rights movement. I mean, you can just, we like, they when you go through a training class out here, it's just common sense too. If you have a gun in the car, the first thing you tell the officer, "Hey, I have a gun in the car." Where is it? Oh, it's here. It's there. And of course, you keep your gun. If you're going to keep your gun in the car, you keep it in a place where your, registration and insurance are not. Like if your registration insurance is in your glove box, you keep the gun in the console, and vice versa. So you don't have to reach in to go get anything. You just say, "Okay, there it is." And whenever I tell the cop that, they don't even need to look at it. They say, "Okay, do you need to go in there?" "No, everything's over there." "Okay," and that's it. It's the end of story.
I keep my registration in the glove box. My insurance card is usually like sitting where the ashtray used to be, so I can just grab it and hand it to them. They just say, "Thanks for letting me know that," and they get into the reason why they pulled me over, and that's the end of it, And I don't these people don't teach their kids to respect police officers either. And that's what I was saying about the Tamir Rice situation, because I know Tamir Rice's uncle, the 12-year-old that got shot by the cops.
Right.
I mean, he was bigger than some grown men. And by the video, he reached for his waist, probably to show them that the gun wasn't real, because he don't understand how to follow directions because he wasn't taught that.
Right.
You know, older people tell you got to go along to get along. Sometimes you just got to go along with what it is. I tell let the cop slam you on the ground, let them beat you up, and then we'll get a lawyer.
Yeah, then you take him to court and you'll get a paycheck. You know, I mean, you know,
don't get yourself killed if you prove nothing.
You know, I always tell people, like, don't litigate your case on the street. You know, even if for a ticket, like if you know you didn't do anything wrong, they write you a ticket and they're like harassing you. Say, okay, take the ticket and then go to court, and then you have a judge, and you have, and if you're in front of this, if you know this cop, a lot of his tickets end up in front of that same judge. Well, the judge gets to know who this guy is, and it's like, oh, I mean, I've seen it even up here where the judge will say, okay, you got a ticket for doing what? And like before the DA even says anything, he goes, well, I'm going to dismiss that. I think that's nonsense. He goes, you're free to go. I'm dismissing this. He's just doing it on his own. You know, so I mean, you know, because that's what the courtroom's about. It's a very, you know, civil place, and it's where you can make your argument, and it's where, you know, you can make your pitch. And if the cop wants to show up and do a trial, then you get to cross-examine him, and you can show that he was wrong on his procedure and that he didn't really see what he was saying he saw, and you really didn't do what you were doing, what he said you were doing. But that's where you make your arguments. You make them inside the courtroom. You know, just take the ticket and go home.
Yeah, that's exactly what. I don't care how rude a cop is being to me. I don't have nothing to say to somebody who got legal access to a gun. I don't have nothing to say to them.
Yeah.
But yes, sir, and no, sir, or yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am.
Yeah.
Because I'm not interested in not going home. I'm not interested in just even being in a holding cell. I'm not interested in none of that. You know, and that's what these kids don't know, because like I always say, their fathers is not in the home. And single motherhood is a problem because these people aren't raised with the proper value system.
Well, yeah,
I'm
because
a single mother, but it was
go ahead.
No welfare, no none of that. My ex just left and didn't care about his kids, and I was like, okay, well, whatever. You know, like I said, my job is a you know, like a government job. So I didn't need him. I wasn't about to go run the court to take him to child support. You don't want to take care of your kids, fine.
Right.
You know, but I still, you know, they still is when you have them raised with morals and values, and then you still have male figures in their life. Like my father don't allow my boys to get out of line. He's, you know, around them all the time. So, you know, I do something and then I have his reinforcement on it, and that's what these kids are missing. So they out here letting the court system raise them, because that's what's happening. The court system is raising them. Their mamas is making excuses for them, and, you know, all of that. Then you got the thing, you know, they either killing each other or they running and getting abortions. My ex-sister-in-law, she probably had 6, 7, 8 abortions.
Wow.
I mean, she was telling me when I was pregnant with my daughter is about to be 10 in April.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sitting there, I'm pregnant with my daughter, and she's like, oh, sometimes they hit the baby in the head with a hammer, and sometimes they pour not bleach, but acid on the soft spot, and sometimes they turn them brief and suffocate them in the birth canal, and sometimes they stab them with scissors. And I was like, whoa, time out. I was like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, that's kind of nuts. So they kind of get them to the position. She gets herself to the point where then she can go in and say, oh, like I'm having a miscarriage, I need a D&C or something.
Right. I'm like, what are you talking about? I was like, why do you even know all of that?
Yeah,
like,
you could probably Google it and find out. That's the sad part.
Yeah, this was like I said, this was 2009. So I mean, Google was out, but I don't think people used it as much. But she was saying it's like she experienced it, because I'm clueless. I don't want to know what an abortion is like. I mean,
right.
I had my oldest when I was 19. And they asked me, do you plan on keeping a pregnancy? I'm like, that was the dumbest question in the world to me. I was like, plan on keeping it? Like, what is that supposed to mean? What do you mean?
What did they ask you that? They asked you that at the hospital, or did they ask you that? Your friends asked you that?
You know, you have to have a pregnancy confirmed with a blood test. Even though you take a pregnancy test and a urine test, they still do a blood test. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I was still on my mother's insurance, but they were like, are you plan on continuing with the pregnancy? I'm like, continuing with the pregnancy? Why wouldn't I be? I mean, what are you even talking about?
Right. Well, that's
you know, because I was like,
That's pretty crazy.
A ridiculous.
They kind of give you that option, like they're saying, well, we can do an abortion. You don't have to keep the kid. It's like, well, that's my business. That's really none of your business.
My response to not keeping a kid is I'm giving them up for adoption. That's not keeping a kid to me.
Right.
Killing a kid to me is not an option. To me, like I told X one time, it's no different than if somebody was trying to kill one of my kids now and I step in front of it to stop it. That would be no different. To me, oh, well, you're going to die if it's either you or the kid. Okay, I've had 39 years of life, so save the kid.
Right. Right, because they use that as they say the health of the mother. Well, in the life of the mother, like life of the mother, I can see that makes sense. Like okay, but it seems like like Texas RN was talking about this. Like, well, if you're going to be cutting people open to abort a kid, you could be doing a C-section and actually deliver the kid. You can. There's
right.
a lot of things you can do.
Waiting list for babies. Waiting list. All these women out here and men that can't have kids, give them the kid. I mean, what are you killing a baby for? I mean, to me, you could never be mentally prepared to have a kid. There's nothing that prepares you for that. Not age, not finances. There's nothing. It's always something that it's going to do to you mentally or emotionally, just having to deal with the responsibility of guiding another life and whether that person is going to be a drain on society or not.
Right.
And I told my son he's about to be 19 in a couple of weeks. And I was like, boy, I had a job. As soon as I turned 16, you need to get a job. And he said, yeah. I'm like, all right. I was you either have a job by the summer or you going to the Air Force.
I bet he's gonna get a job this summer.
He has a job. He at work right now.
Oh, good deal. Well, no, I mean, when you get out of high school, I mean, you're either gonna, join the military, go on to college, go to a trade school, or get a job. I mean, there's not an option. You just kind of hang out, and just relax and do nothing. I mean, that's.
Well, I pushed my kids towards trade school. I mean, that's where I went. I went to Ohio Diesel Tech. I took automotive and diesel because, I mean, even though I'm smart, I don't like sitting around in schools with a bunch of, like, all this little hippie, crybaby safe space crap that go on. I would be in there knocking people the fuck out because I can't stand that crybaby liberal hippie bullshit. I don't want to hear none of it. I don't want to hear it from professors. I don't want to hear that victimhood shit. They got this DOS crap, this descendants of slaves. I'm not a descendant of a slave. I don't know any slave. I don't need your reparations. You don't have to give me nothing.
Yeah, I was talking to Voltron last night. Yeah, I was talking to Voltron about that last night.
Yeah, you make yourself a slave to a person that gives you something. They said we're going to get something for free. There's no such thing as free stuff.
Yeah.
Somebody somewhere got to pay for that.
Yeah, no, I was talking to Voltron because he was telling me about that ADOS, and I had seen on a couple of sites that I'm sub to, like O'Shea's site, he was going to be talking about it. And I didn't Google it or anything because, I was kind of busy yesterday. And then he told me what it was, and I'm like, well, here's the problem. Okay, so say, because they were talking about like, well, gee, Roland Martin is from Haiti. And I said, well, yeah, he's probably a descendant of a slave too, because until 1804, until they kicked the French out, they were all slaves. And he goes, well, yeah, but they said you got to take that up with the French. I'm like, well, okay. And then we were talking about Kamala Harris's father was from Jamaica. And I said, well, he's probably a descendant of slaves too, because Jamaica was a British colony, and they did a lot of sugar cane, made a fortune for the British. They did a lot of sugar cane, had a lot of slaves. It was actually really cruel. I mean, super cruel. I mean, they were just terrible. It was just really brutal, bad in Jamaica. So I go, he's probably a descendant of slaves. Well, now they're saying like, well, maybe he's only 25%, African and 75% Indian, or I don't know, something, whatever. And I'm like, well, geez, I mean, like who's putting together these tests,
Right. What they were saying about her father, because Jamaicans also owned slaves. They said her father was one of them upper echelon richy ones. It probably would have been a slave owner. But like I tell people,
well, how the hell do you know that?
From Western Africa, I've never seen her father because I don't care about her, so I don't know. But you look at people from Western Africa and you look at somebody like me, I don't see any resemblance to them people. So and there's a site called African Americans Are African, and they'll put pictures up of somebody like from Barbados, somebody from West Africa, and an American person. And we all look more like the island people. How they got there, who the hell knows? Because Red Elephant is saying that the Native Americans, so-called Native Americans, came over here on a land bridge. So there's technically nobody that's native of America. America was settled like any other place.
Well, I'm sure there were like probably some like former cavemen in North America, and then these people that came over from Asia across the land bridge through Alaska and then on down down to north like where America is, and then into Central and South America. I'm sure they conquered whoever was there. They took over from them. So it's a question of, well, who conquered who last, and was it fair that we were the last ones to conquer somebody? And well, I don't know. I mean, was it fair for these guys to conquer who was there before them? I mean, how far back do you go? But yeah, this whole ADOS thing was kind of blowing me away, because I'm like, well, okay, so what if like you trace your descendants to they were brought over to the United States, which is now the United States, prior to 1783 or 1789 when we became a country? No, just real quick, Roro. No, I didn't change the chat layout. It's the same chat that I've always had. I don't know. Maybe YouTube's doing something with it. I don't know. But yeah, so I mean, so say you trace your descendants back to when we were a British colony. So I mean, if your descendants got here before we became the United States, are you still an American descendant of slaves, or are you a British, former colonist descendant of slaves?
Right.
I mean, and who does that?
What if I trace myself back to Anthony Johnson, a black man who owned slaves? Then what do I do?
Yeah, you're shit out of luck. I guess you don't get anything.
Right. So what's the point? I mean, I remember people, Obama said it'll cost $14 trillion to give us reparations, but it ain't like we don't deserve it. I was like, who is we? I was like, when was you a slave?
No.
Let's just, great grandmother was a slave. Giving me $1 million means what to her? She's dead.
Right. Well, somebody was saying on one of the sites I was watching, they were saying, they're comparing like people from Nigeria who are immigrants versus people who came over on the slave trade, like whether this Nigerian immigrant family came over, say 100 years ago, and they came over as immigrants like 100 years ago from Nigeria. And they say, well, is that the same as, people who came like, 150 years ago as slaves? And they say, well, hell no, it's not the same, because they don't know, they haven't lived our experience. And the guy saying it was like 25 years old. And he's saying our experience. I go, well, what experience have you had since 1994 in this country? I mean, yeah, I mean, you're going to.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to like extrapolate what your grandfather, great-grandfather, great-great, all the way back, what they went through, which was rough and tough and bad. But, that's not your experience. I mean, maybe you want to try to put yourself in their position and try to see how they felt. Just don't get too hung up on that. I mean, you want to look at it from a historical point of view and see what the history was and what led to this and this and this. That's fine. But it wasn't his experience, and he's a 25-year-old guy. His experience is he was born in the United States in 1994, and now he's like 25 years old today. I mean, I'm sure his experience was a hell of a lot different than somebody who was living in the 50s or somebody who was living in the 1850s. So it's kind of weird.
You want something for nothing. You just want something for nothing, and you lazy. There is nothing that a white person is stopping a black person from doing. I tell black people this all the time. I'm like, white people are not fucking worried about y'all. They don't care about y'all. They trying to move away from y'all. And when y'all get money, what do? You run to move next to white people. If white people raise this, why do you want to live in their neighborhoods?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm a big fan of Martin Luther King, Andrew Young, those guys. I'm a big fan of those guys. I like what they did. I like how they advanced the Civil Rights, Act, the Voting Rights Act, and then in 1968 the Fair Housing Act, which was like the Civil Rights Act of 1968, and they did great work. And they were about integration, about okay, look, we gotta, we live here, we're here, you got here differently than we got here, okay, but we gotta learn how to live together and make this country a really great country. Because if we're all on the same page, every ethnic group in this country, because this is like probably the best example of a multicultural society working. They generally don't work at all. I mean, this is what's going on in the United States actually works, compared to other places. Maybe it's not, it's not perfect, because of course it's not. But compared to other places that have tried multicultural societies, we blow them away. We're great compared to everybody else.
Right. Yeah. Most of the like the Nordic countries that they love to talk about, they're more homogenous. And when something is homogenous, you can use something more on a smaller scale because it works for people who are generally the same.
Yeah.
You know, we have so many cultures over here. You know, it's not the same. And I tell people, I mean, you know, on a basic level, we self-segregate. Like, you go hang, you know, I might go hang with a bunch of black people. You might go hang with a bunch of white people. And it don't have nothing to do with racism. It's just, you know, I'm like, if a white guy want to hang with a bunch of other white guys, I mean, what is that? I mean, that's how he grew up.
Well,
Just
no,
like
generally
whole,
you hang out with people like not so much in your neighborhood. Most people aren't very neighborly. You generally hang out with people like you go to school with, people you work with, people you interact with on a daily basis. Those are the people you go out, like when you go out after work. Well, you're going out after work with people you work with. So if you work with people and they're all different races and, you know, cultures and ethnicities, you're going to be hanging out with all of them. And if you live in a town which is like, say, 80% white, well, odds are you're probably going to be hanging out with a lot of white people. If you live in a town that's, say, like, you know, 75% black, you're generally going to be hanging out with a lot of black people. It's like you shouldn't have to, like, if you're a black guy living in Detroit, you shouldn't have to go search and find a white guy to hang out with so you can say, oh, look, I hang out with white people too. You know, it's like, oh, let's go find that white guy. Like, there's one white guy, like, he probably gets, like, you know, calls to go out for drinks, like, every night. It's like, oh, I just want to say I was hanging out with a white guy tonight. He's like, no, man, I'm tired, man. I got to get up and go to work in the morning. You know, he's got to have a shift. You know, it's like, well, no, I got to say I hang out with white people, and you're, like, the only white guy in the neighborhood. It's like, oh, Jesus, okay, let's go out and play some pool or something, you know. So you just hang out with people that that you run into, interact on a daily basis, regardless of their ethnicity. You know, who cares?
That victimhood mentality runs deep. Like, a lot of people don't know that the guy who created Superman is from Cleveland. He actually grew up in the neighborhood I grew up in. You know, they have his house marked with a plaque and everything. So one of my coworkers say, well, Superman or Wolverine or one of these people need to be black. I'm like, but, you know, Superman's not black, though. Yeah, but there needs to be a black Superman. I'm like, but Superman's not black. And he's like, well, why can't he be black? I'm like, because he's not. I'm like, Jerry Siegel was white. I'm like, when you create something, you know, that's fantasy, you create it as a super more, you know, higher image of yourself. So Jerry Siegel created a more enhanced image of himself or a more enhanced image of his father. I'm like, if you want a black superhero, why do you need Stan Lee to do it? Why won't you make one? To me, like the whole Colin Kaepernick thing, and this is what I told somebody. I said, when you on your knee and you're kneeling, you kneel to pray. You kneel to show acquiescence and obeisance to somebody. You kneel and surrender. So to me, he's on the ground saying, I want the white man to fix my black problems. If you a man, you fix your own problems. It's not white people's problems what's going on in black neighborhoods. A real man goes and fixes what's wrong with the neighborhood instead of getting on his knee like a punk and asking Donald Trump to do it. Donald Trump didn't make Detroit the way it is.
Well, I was having a conversation. You know, I was having a conversation with someone on a black YouTube site, and I was saying, like, you know, in Detroit, when the jobs, and because I was in Houston back in '78. I'm trying to think. Yeah, 1978. In 1978, you had a whole flood of what they called Yankees. Because, I mean, back in 1978, they still thought of themselves as the South versus the North. And we went down there we didn't go down there for work. We went down there because my mom had contracted cancer. We had to go to MD Anderson Medical Center down in Houston. So we moved to Houston. But at the same time that was going on, a lot of people were moving from the Midwest, from Detroit, in the Northeast, because the economy went to crap when the oil prices went through the roof and everything. In Houston and Oklahoma and Louisiana were doing really good because they were primarily oil-rich states. You had a lot of jobs and everything. So, you know, a lot of people moved out of Detroit because the jobs left. The automotive industry died at the same time. It was like a perfect storm. A lot of people moved out, but then a lot of people stayed behind, which I still don't understand to this day. And they said, well, you know, maybe they could have moved. Well, I mean, I know a lot of white folks that moved out of Detroit that, you know, came down to Houston because I ran into them with, like, maybe, you know, just enough money to get gas in the car. I mean, they left all their furniture behind, left their house behind, let it go into foreclosure, and pretty much whatever they could load into a car, that was all their belongings, kind of like the covered wagon going across the West. That was it. And they came down to Houston, and they quickly went looking for work and looking for a place to live and everything. But then you had a lot of people that stayed behind in Detroit when there were no jobs. It's like, why would you stay there? Get the hell out of there. You know, move to where the jobs are. And so now you have Detroit looking like it is.
Yeah, Cleveland, like I said, the mills, the steel mills, when you start getting Chinese steel or whatever it is, the mills and the manufacturing, and that's how you can find a Browns fan everywhere all over the country. Is because a lot of people left Cleveland looking for other opportunities once the industrial boom died down. But that's what happened. Like you said, a lot of people stayed behind for whatever reason, and got on welfare. I mean, I tell people all the time when I was 19, when I was pregnant with my son, my mother was like, I'm not taking care of you and that kid. You better go get on assistance. So I was on welfare for a few years, but I had to take this class because Bill Clinton had put in welfare reform. So if you couldn't work 20 hours a week and they didn't make me because I was pregnant, I had to go to a class every day. I'm in
Okay.
a class with women 40, 50 years old. They've never had a job. And by the time I was 19, I had already had 5 jobs. So that was the most ridiculous thing I ever seen in my life. Like, you're 50 years old, you've never had a job. Like, who does that? But my mother always had a job. My big sister always had a job. My sister's 19 years older than me. So, but, my aunts always had jobs. So I'm like, where did these people come from? Like, what do you don't know how to fill out a job application. But you
Yeah.
have people like that that fell into housing projects and got on the system and stayed that way.
Yeah, and the whole idea behind like public assisted housing and behind welfare and all that was to give you kind of a hand up because everybody falls into tough times, and the whole point was okay, look, you fell into some tough times, whatever the reason, you lost a job, maybe you got sick, maybe your wife got sick, your husband got sick, whatever the reason, your kid got sick, and you kind of got stuck, in a rut. So it's to kind of say, okay, look, we give you a little breathing room. Okay, here's some public assistance for housing. Here's some public assistance, so you can eat and you get some food. But the whole point was just to give you enough time to go get your own job, to kind of build up, a savings account so you could go get the first and last month rent, money tucked away, and then go get your own place. And that was the whole point of it. And the debates in the 60s when they were instituting welfare, the debates were similar to the same debates when they were doing Social Security back in the 30s. Was like, well, no, if we do this, it's gonna expand in some big mess, and people can be on this for years and years. And the people pushing for it, oh no, we're gonna have all these safeguards in place. Well, initially they did, and then over time those safeguards went away. They just kept relaxing them, not even by legislation, by the actual agencies in charge of enforcing these and putting them into action would create like these regulations and create like, okay, we're going to relax this law, we're going to relax this law, and it was all by unelected officials, and eventually got to the point where there aren't really that many time limits. You have certain time limits, but then if you have a kid, then it starts a new time limit, starting over again, and you have people who are on this for generation after generation after generation, which was definitely not the point of it, and it creates this whole dependent
Yeah,
class, and it's really sad because these people they feel like they're
yeah,
stuck in it, and they saw their mom on it, they saw their grandmom on it, and they're on it, and they're having
yep.
kids, and their kids are seeing their mom and grandma and great grandma on it.
But it became a hustle. But they were, we were talking about that on X. Somebody mentioned Cloward Piven, and I remember hearing that on Alex Jones years ago and looking that up. Those two sociology professors, they were married. They wrote an article in 1966 called "The Weight of the Poor," and the point of it was to overwhelm the welfare system at the city and state level to force the federal government to step in and create an automatic income for everybody. And that's basically Andrews, that whatever the hell that girl's name is, AOC's talking about the unwilling to work.
Yeah.
That's where that comes in. That's what Richard Cloward and Francis Fox Piven was talking about, overwhelming the system to the point where the government had to step in and create this automatic income. And I'm like, well, like her idea of this tax system, when you get to $10 million, you're going to pay 70%. And, first of all, those people will just leave the country. And then if you paying people for not working, why would I still work if I could get paid not to work? Then when you're not working, you're not paying taxes. So when there's no tax revenue, where do you get the money for all this nonsense you're talking about?
Right. I mean, you don't, and that's the whole point of it. And then, like, I was watching Tucker Friday night, and the guy was saying, "Oh no, we didn't say about unwilling or anything. Oh, that was some Republican fake piece." And then I watched Red Elephants this morning or it was yesterday, I can't remember, but he was saying, "Look, man, we archived the original website that they took down after the fact, where it
Yeah.
specifically said no, we provide money for people who are unwilling to work, unable or unwilling." I mean, so this guy was just on Tucker, just lying his ass off. I mean,
They always go. It's hard to. Tucker's a smart guy. I watch him just for the debates because nobody can ever answer his question. Then he gets that confused look on his face, and then it morphs into that slow smile, and it's hilarious. Nobody ever answers his question. They all come up there talking that nonsense. Detroit machines on down, always on there talking about nonsense, and it's hilarious.
Yeah. Well, I mean that AOC. I mean, somebody was saying it might have been Axe talking on his site or somebody else where they're trying to like redistrict her district so she no longer has a district, or they're looking at what I said. What I said, I think it was last night or the night before. I was saying to someone that called in, I was saying like, hey, look, the leadership of the Democratic Party, they're not happy with her. They're going to find a way somehow to like primary or get some fundraisers over to whoever's going to primary her in the Democratic Party and get rid of her.
They did that here in Ohio with Dennis Kucinich. Dennis Kucinich was against Obamacare. He spoke out big against Obamacare. Obama actually took him up in Air Force One and threatened to throw him off the plane if he didn't stop, trying to filibuster it. So he withdrew his objection to Obamacare. But then when Obama starting all those wars, like in Egypt and Libya and Tunisia, that nobody seems to remember but me, Dennis Kucinich was one of the people who sued him under the War Powers Act. Next thing I know, he got gerrymandered and we got Marcy Kaplan. And I'm like, well, what happened to Kucinich? They, redrew his district and he got primaried and they got Marcy Kaplan because they wanted him out of there.
Yeah.
So
yeah. That was sad for him. Now I wouldn't be really upset if they did that with Cortez, because I mean, well, if you go in there, one of the first things you say is, we're going to primary one of the speaker's best friends to win Hakeem Jeffries, who I'm not a big fan of, but still, it's the Speaker of the House is like one of her best friends, and they say he's kind of like, in a position to become Speaker one day himself. He said, we're going to primary him. And she's like, hey, what the shit? This is one of my guys here. I mean, okay, you beat Joe Crowley, who kind of sat on his hands during your election and didn't do anything and took you for granted. But you're not just going to go around and start giving me a list of people that you're going to go primary in 2020. We got some bigger business to do, and you're not part of it. I mean, like I was saying last night, that new subcommittee was formed on climate change in the House. Well, Pelosi's in charge of picking the people to sit on that subcommittee, and of course, Cortez's big thing is climate change. Well, Pelosi did not put Cortez on that subcommittee.
Right, she wanted that one too.
Oh, she wanted big time.
She wanted that one, and there was another one, something with Ways and Means or something she wanted, and they didn't give it to her. So her and Tlaib and Ilhan Omar, they were very upset about not getting picked on those committees, but they kind of telling them like, y'all don't belong. Y'all.
Well, yeah, if you show up, if you show up and you tell the leadership, hey, we're getting rid of you because you're not, representing the people. Well, that leadership is the leadership. They're in charge of subcommittees. They're in charge of picking committee members, and they're also like Pelosi and the top people, in there. They're also, in charge of distributing like the fundraising money and going out and doing fundraisers for people. So, I mean, I can definitely see where behind the scenes, they find somebody who lives in her district to give her a primary challenge. And I guarantee this person is going to suddenly have all these top Democratic donors, kicked over to him, and they're going to be donating money to him, running PAC commercials and everything else. And they're gonna primary her out of there because she only got like 13,000 votes because nobody showed up to vote, in her district. And she, for her part, she hustled. She walked that district. She hustled the vote. She knew what she was doing. She was in Crowley's face. Crowley was complacent. Didn't read anything about her, read any of her talking points. And they did a couple debates, and he was awful in it. And she just kind of ran the tables with him, But I mean, that's not gonna happen next time. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, she, all of this, she's giving them great material for the debates coming in 2020. But I've seen she had a back and forth with Steve Scalise, and her people were talking about it's too bad the person that shot you missed. Next time we gonna get a sniper to get you. And Steve Scalise, you know, he's the House Majority Whip. He was like,
Right.
I'm glad your constituents are stable and that, you know, maybe we'll just have a debate on the House floor. And then they were having some kind of thing about gun violence, and they refused to let him speak.
That's
and
crazy.
I was saying, well, he got shot with an AR-15. How come nobody ever says anything about that? So it's all optics. Everything is optics. No one cares about him being shot. No one cares about what he has to say about guns. No one cares that a crazy Bernie supporter tried to kill him, and Rand Paul and whoever else is on that baseball team.
Right.
I mean, it's crazy. And I'll be hearing some people at work about that. I'm like, well, what about Steve Scalise? Well, who is Steve Scalise? I'm like, y'all watch the news all day. What do you mean?
Well, yeah, you can't really blame them too much in a way, because if they're watching the mainstream media, I mean, you can blame them for that. But the problem is, you know, it's funny because when that shooting took place and they found out it was a Democrat, it was a leftist, and they shot a bunch of Republicans with an automatic weapon. Normally on a mass shooting, the mainstream media goes crazy on the story about gun control, and they have these big roundtable discussions, and they keep the story alive for like a week. Man, there was no talk about gun control, nothing about that whatsoever, no big stories on cable news, nothing. You're right, they just kind of buried that story like it never happened. But, you know, if it was some right-wing guy who shot up a bunch of Democrats, my God, you'd never heard the end of it. Gun control would have been all over the place. They would have been talking about the crazy right-wing nutcases and everything else.
I heard about that on YouTube. I'm like, who is Steve Scalise? I'm like, where the hell did that happen at? You know, I was totally lost. And then I asked all these people that watch the news all day. I'm like, well, what about this? I don't know what you're talking about, Scalise. I'm like, well, damn, y'all watch the news. And so the CNN don't tell y'all nothing, huh? They just don't tell y'all nothing at all. And y'all just keep on watching it. And then you come with me. And they do it. And, you know, when they can't refute nothing you say, then they go to ad hominem. And I'm like, look, I don't have time for your ad hominem bullshit. You can't dispute what I'm saying. You sound like an idiot. So let's just go fix our bus and go to hell home, because I don't have time for it.
That's probably not a bad reply. But hey, thanks for calling in. I mean, great phone call. You kind of got dared into it, or I guess, or Laylo saying you got to call. I need you to call, Talise. Please call. But I totally appreciate. I totally appreciate you calling in. That's really really good information there. But good deal.
All right, you have good.
All right, you take care, young lady. See you in the chat.
All right.
Bye bye.
All right. Bye bye.
And that was a great Talise, great phone call there. And yeah, I remember that Steve Scalise story. And it was like, and I said at the time he got shot, they found it was a leftist that shot a bunch of Republicans up. I said, man, they're going to bury this story. This story is going nowhere fast. And sure enough, man, you hardly heard anything about it. And then they said, you know, the Democrats were like, oh, we're not going to bring up, you know, gun control because out of respect for Steve Scalise. And it was like BS. They weren't bringing up gun control because they don't want to say who actually did it. Hold on, I got a call coming in. Just please hold on a sec. Good evening. You're on the Carl's Opinion. What's your name? Hey, you know what's funny? What's funny about your phone call is like I'm the only one hearing it right now. It's actually not on YouTube. Yeah. So hey. And anyway, that's one of our trolls calling in, and thank you, troll lady. Up, she's calling. But anyway, so yeah, we screen our phone calls here. So if you're calling in to say something stupid, you're not going to get on. The only person who's going to hear it is me, and that's okay. I find it humorous. But so anyway, back to what I was talking about, Steve Scalise. It's like, yeah, I knew they're going to bury that story, and again, they made up this BS statement about, oh, we're just doing it because, you know, we don't want to you know, embarrass him, you know, and bring up gun control because we know he's against gun control, that kind of stuff. But hold on, let me just write this down real quick. All right. Okay, well, let's continue back with our story here. We'll jump right back onto here right now. Let's see here. All right. So let's see. Hold on a sec. Let me take care of this. There we go. All right. So let's get back to our story where we were talking about earlier about illegal immigration on Mexico's border on pace for worst year since wall building spree in 2007. Again, a rather interesting story, so let's get to it. And we brought up the numbers earlier regarding there was an 84% increase. 201,500 people were nabbed in the first 4 months of the fiscal year compared to 109,500 last year. So 84% increase, which is remarkable. So, I mean, that's something you got to think about there. And then see, and the new surge is comprised of migrant families and children. So, in other words, they're being told, bring kids. Because they know that, according to the courts ruling on the settlement, a compromise agreement they had years ago, they can't separate the parents from the kids, and housing a family unit is much more expensive for us than housing like an individual. Hold on, we got Mr. Lalo calling in. Mr. Lalo.
Hey, what's up, Carl?
How much, Mr. Lalo?
Hey, listen, thank you for taking my call again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, I just want to say, Talise, thank you, baby, for calling. You rock. And, hey, by the way, Carl, she was behaving because Talise is always very crazy. So she was being very nice and very, very respectable. But I love her. Love you, baby. Love you.
She's always very respectable. What are you talking about? She always has...
No, she is. But I love when she goes crazy. I love that. So when she called you and she was being so nice, I'm like, whoa. Is that the same person? Is that Talise? No. That's not the same one. No, but I love her. I mean, she's very nice. She's very cool. Yo, Carl, I'm not going to take too much of your time. I don't want to bug you. I want other people to call.
Sure.
I just want to say, yo, you're rocking the show, man. Thank you, man. Really, man, brother, you rocking the whole thing, man. Thank you for having me, for having everybody here, man. I really appreciate it, man, from my heart, man.
Oh,
love
definitely,
you, baby.
definitely. You got it.
No,
all right, man. Hey,
you.
have a good one. What? Go ahead.
No. I'm gonna hang up. I just want to say one thing. Last night, Boltron. I don't know if he's here in the house. Yeah, I think he is. But anyway, yo, I was listening to you and to him yesterday about the issues and the points that you guys were mentioning. Good points. Thank you for the info. Like I said, man, I love when people call because I get to get information, that I don't get to see all the time or everywhere. So thank you. Keep it coming. I'm going to be here listening to you guys. So I was just calling to say thank you to Talise for calling, and thank you, Carl, for having us, man. Serious, man. I'm serious, brother. Thank you from my heart, brother. Thank you for having me and everybody calling you and listening to you, man. Serious. It's always so nice, man. Anyway, Carl, I'm out of here. Let somebody else call. See you, baby. See you.
All right, man. Hey, thanks so much, Layla. Bye-bye. Well, anyway, you guys are in for a real treat tonight, and I think I'm going to use this opportunity to show you a rap video that I debuted last night from the Badass Barrister. And so without further ado, and let me take me down off of here, and let's take this down off of here, and let's take this down off of here. Anyway, this is the Badass Barrister with his debut rap single. I knew Badass Barrister back in the day, and he was great. And we're going to go on and play his video, rap video right now. So here you go, Badass Barrister.
Yo, BS here. No, just politics, history, and facts. That's what I'm talking about. My opinion. Carl's opinion. Yeah, I'm not trying to shade you. just trying to educate you. I opine that you just need to listen and participate, or just be standing outside the gate. Carl's opinion. My opinion. Yeah. Yo, yo, yo. BS here. No, no, no. Just politics, history, and facts. That's what I'm talking about. My opinion. Carl's opinion. Yeah. I'm not trying to shade you. Just trying to educate you. I opine that you just need to listen and participate, or just be standing outside the gate. Carl's opinion. My opinion. Yeah.
Anyway, hey everybody. So anyway, that was Badass Barrister, and let's make sure he's cut off here. All right, he is. So let's see. Turn this down. So that's Badass Barrister, and just really happy to have him performing his rap debut. And I hope you guys all enjoyed that. And so if you guys want to hear more from Badass Barrister, I'm sure we can get him back in here again to play some more rap music for you guys. But looks like we got a phone call coming in, so we'll go ahead and take that right now. Good evening. You're on live with Carl's Opinion. This is Carl. Go ahead. Well, it's an open topic, but generally politics and news, and we generally discuss. Today we were discussing one of the issues was immigration. We're going to talk about Adam Schiff and things of that sort. But yeah, what do you want to talk about? Well, I'm not really concerned about my point of view at the call-in show. Just tell me your point of view. All right, hold on a second. Up, I had the sound. Hold on. Here we go. All right, we have a caller on. We're discussing immigration right now, and caller, your point of view was pretty much that you're looking to pretty much lock down immigration, and you were asking for what my point of view on that was.
Well, no, I mean, more or less, my point of view is just being isolationist, more or less, going back to the older way, the older viewpoint, so forth. I mean, we need immigration. It is a vital part of Americana, more or less, but legal immigration. And I mean, my question was, if like you say that you were, the commander in chief, what would your solution to immigration be?
Well, yeah, I mean, you really can't do much as a commander in chief. And we live in democracy. We got, Article 1 is Congress, and Article 2 is the president. But the Congress is the one who appropriates funds, and all laws, of course, start in either the House or the Senate, and then go to the president's desk. So, I mean, as commander in chief, it's not necessarily you could do anything on your own. That's the whole point. The founding fathers wanted checks and balances to make sure one guy. They just got done dealing with like one guy situation, namely King George. So basically, the Congress and the president have to work together. But I mean, earlier I was said, look, right now we have 1 million people coming in here legally a year, and so the question is, okay, what's the number? What do we need in our country? And like, okay, we need so many people who with high skills, so many people with, IT work, we need so many people with low skill abilities, to go out and work, the really tough jobs that nobody wants to do. And just, let's get with the Chamber of Commerce, get with the different states, you can hold big committee hearings on this in Congress. I mean, that they're geared to do just that. Get all the information together and say, okay, this is the number. Have your experts come in. So somebody says, 3.5. Somebody says, 1.5. Somebody says 2.6. And they agree on a number like 2.4. So, okay, fine. 2.4, and it's different classes of people, different levels of education, different levels of skill levels. And whatever that number is, that's fine with me. But then you say, okay, that's what the most we can handle. So that's what we're going to do every year, and anybody else we're not going to let in. And so then you have to figure out ways to keep people out. Okay, and that means like a barrier or a wall or a fence or whatever, plus security, and then people who manage to sneak across, and getting them arrested and then getting them deported or through some kind of legal process. You still want due process. I mean, you got to have that. But then you can actually say, okay, that's it. And then you can come up with a number. And then every year you make it so that you can adjust the number. Maybe 4 years from now we need more, or maybe we need less. And then whatever the number is, just depending on what we need in our country. Because Gallup did a poll from South America saying that, asking people, if you could just be in the United States tomorrow, would you go? If you could just walk across, would you go? It was like something like 100 and, I don't know what the number was, 80 million people said, yeah, they want to be here. Well, we can't absorb 180 million people. Maybe we can absorb more than 1 million. There's a number there. Let's find it, and let's go with that, and then enforce the border after you get that number, whatever it is. I think it's a reasonable approach.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, okay, well, let me throw this one to you. What do you think about Japan's approach about immigration and the recent transgender law that was passed there?
Well, I don't know a lot about it, about the transgender law. I didn't really study that very much, to be honest with you. And as far as their immigration laws, I'll be honest with you, I don't know a lot about their immigration laws. I know they're a very homogenous society, and they keep a lot of people out, but that's historically the way they've always been. I mean, going back centuries. I mean, they've always been. They've never liked outsiders. That's something that's kind of built into their DNA. They don't like anybody from the outside, and they like to keep it that way.
Yeah.
So but I'm not sure. Their laws probably reflect who they've been for the last 1,000 years. My guess.
Yeah. Well, see, the way because I've been studying it a little bit because, I have a lot of respect for Japanese culture and so forth because they've actually have a really strong heritage and they really stick with their guns. See, instead of them absorbing, mass migration and so forth, they basically set it up to where if you don't have the skills that we need, you are not welcomed. Like literally, that's flat out how they do it. And I can respect that because they use AIs and certain things. Like they're using robotics to replace the lack of workers in their industrial and so forth. But see, I'm more interested on their transgendered point of view. The way that they're doing it is basically if you declare yourself to be a transgendered person, you have to be sterilized before you're legally accepted as the opposite gender. Now, me personally, I agree with that. What do you think?
Just my gut reaction is I don't agree with that. Sorry, man, I just don't. I mean, I just have a problem with I have a problem with sterilizing people.
Sir?
Well, I'm not a big fan of sterilizing anybody. I don't think I don't think.
Well, yeah.
I mean, if you voluntarily want to not be able to have children, if you choose like, hey, I don't want to have children. Women who get their tubes tied, men who get vasectomies. That's your choice. That's fine. But to have the government, I'm probably more of a libertarian approach on this. If I don't like the idea of the government coming in and going snip, snip. I'm sorry, I just have a huge problem with that concept. I mean, where does that lead to? If you allow that, then what's next? I mean, if transgender people get sterilized, then who gets sterilized next after that?
Yeah, well, see, the way that they justify it is they look at the transgender paradox more or less as the American DMSV-4, the diagnostic medicine book for psychology, before the updated 5, that declared transgendered as a psychological disorder. And the way that they look at it is if these people have this predisposition towards mental illness, that they do not want that in the genetic pool.
Well, yeah, but that's a real slippery slope. Also, then we're talking, like eugenics, like you say. Well, okay, well, this person, that's, remember the first people Hitler killed were the mentally ill, to physically disabled. Those are the
Yes.
first people to go, and then it went from there to do
Yes.
the Jews, and then whoever else, the political opponents, and
Yeah.
the socialists, the communists.
See,
I mean,
I'm,
I mean,
like, don't get me wrong. I'm not advocating that.
no.
I'm not advocating that, sir.
yeah.
But what I'm saying is, the way that they justify it is basically these people are saying, okay, I was born a man, but I feel like a woman. And the way that they look at it as a mental illness, which I agree with, because it is in fact a form of mental illness. When you argue biology versus gender and so forth, but I mean, let's be honest, majority of transgendered people are pretty ugly. I mean, nobody really wants to sleep with them anyway.
Well, okay. I'm gonna have to cut you off on that one. I mean, if you want to make a good reasoned argument, like, on transgenderism and as part of the DS4, psychology thing, that's fine. If you want to make an argument as far as anything else, but if you want to start calling people names, I'm sorry, man. That's just not going there with you. Well, no, I know, but I'm just not gonna go there with you. That's not what I'm about. That's not what this site is about. So. But anyway, hey, thanks for calling in, and feel free to call back. But just again, make you started off with really reasonable arguments. I mean, I was really interested in having a discussion with you, but I can't let you be calling people names like that. Okay, all right, take care. All righty, and let's see, we got another call coming in. Let's find out who this person is. Good evening. You're on with Carl's Opinion. This is Carl. What can I do for you? I can barely hear you. What? Yeah. Okay, now I can hear you. Yeah. Just talking to the phone or the mic or whatever you got going on there. Did you just call? Oh, it sounds like you. Okay, well, it's open topic. So, what do you want to talk about? About who? Wait, who mistreats the animals? Who does what? Yeah, I really don't know anything about this. More of a news and politics kind of thing, and so I'm really not aware of that subject matter. I couldn't really offer anything to you on it. Yeah, I know that's funny, but I'm the only one hearing this right now. So, yeah, I know. That's okay. Hey, thanks for calling, man. Anyway, again, we do screen the phone calls here, so I mean, if you want to give me a good laugh, that's fine. I mean, I could use a good laugh. I mean, I have a lot of serious things going on in my life, so I find it amusing. I'm just not going to let it go out on YouTube. I mean, YouTube has been very nice to me. There you go. Like, it's been very nice to me. But anyway, so yeah, I can't let that I can't let that kind of stuff go out on YouTube. I know everybody in the chat room's like, why? How can you let that go out? We could have heard that. What are you doing, Jogger? I mean, come on, don't do that. But but yeah, so but anyway, but all right, so it is an open topic. One story I did want to cover that I was reading about was, and I'm going to see if I can pull this up real quick here. Let me go grab this real quick here. Let's see. Just give me a couple of seconds. Peoples in the steeples. All right, let me close out of here. Well, actually, maybe I don't have to close out of here. Let's see if I can. Nope, I'm going to close out of that one. Okay. All right, let me. I just want to grab this one article that I liked. Hold on real quick here. Bum, bum, bum. Let's see. Bump. Bump. Let's see if it lets me do what I wanted to do. Here we go. All right. Boom. This is me. This is me talking to myself while I'm doing this. I am now pulling this article up. So just give me a second. Here we go. Voltron calling in. Voltron, how you doing?
Hey, what's up, buddy? How you doing?
Doing okay. Too bad you missed that last phone call. It was pretty funny. I had to cut him off though. So.
Yeah, these guys, they're getting smart, man. They're like trying to make sense at the beginning and then do a zinger at the end, right?
Yeah, it's the guy before that was even the guy right after him too was good too.
Right.
In fact, I just left.
Yeah,
I had a
yeah.
feeling it was a similar story, so I just had to just leave him off altogether. But I mean,
No problem.
but yeah, that's kind of what they do, I guess. So, but hey, you know what?
Right.
Teach his own. But how you doing tonight, man? How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing all right. Man. I'm sitting here, chilling. I wanted to call in. I wanted to ask you, there were two topics I wanted to discuss with you. The second one I'll leave out for now, but the one right now is internet censorship. I really believe internet censorship should be like the biggest issue of the day for Republicans because we're getting blacked out all over the place: Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, YouTube. I mean, could you imagine what it would be like if Trump was taken off of Twitter maybe 2 years before his election run?
Oh yeah, no, I mean
he probably wouldn't even run. I mean, like there's all kinds of people that could happen to. So where's the line at? And Jack Dorsey's interview with Joe Rogan. Did you see that one?
No, but I only saw the part of it where Joe Rogan kind of pussied out and didn't like jump on his ass.
Yeah, he didn't jump on him, but they're gonna do it again. And Joe Rogan had a really good one with Tim Pool. Do you know Tim Pool?
Yeah, Tim Cash. Yeah, I am sub to his side. I watch him all the time. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. He was on Rogan just the other day, and he was bringing up all these points. They were really great points, though. But I mean, I don't know, man. Like, there's been times where I've heard of. Have you heard of Patreon?
But yeah, the Patreon
Not
thing.
Patreon, but Patreon.
Oh,
Patreon.
There
was a Patreon. Yeah. So Patreon came about when Patreon was, losing people or whatever, or blocking people. But what happened with them was that the payment processor got taken away from them. So these companies, even though they try to give you an alternative, the payment process at the end will take it away from you. So it never really got started.
Okay.
So there's a monopoly, basically, right?
Right.
There's a monopoly. So
okay.
even if a company excels at it and does it, it's going to be taken away by the payment processor. How can you do a business like that? It's a monopoly, big time.
Yeah, I mean, no, you can't do business like that. I mean, if you're like if I was monetized or I had a PayPal account that I was accepting donations in and like Sargon of Azad or whatever his name is. Akkad. Yeah.
Sargon of Akkad.
Yeah, like he was pulling in $12,500 US per month. And then suddenly they zapped him off. And suddenly his income went to zero.
Mm-hmm.
Then he was scrambling. And then he went to another site. And then they eventually kicked him off of that one. And it's like, hey, I can't even get paid. And then you see that with banks and stuff, regarding, gun stores. They won't process their credit cards. Also,
oh, gosh.
Yeah, they won't give them a merchant account. And, most people when they come in, they use credit cards. I mean, hell, we take credit cards sometimes. So, I mean, and that's really sad. That they, that suddenly all your business is gone. Half your business. Some people come and pay cash. Most people generally pay with a credit card. They don't like carrying a lot of cash with them. And they zapped him. And I think he finally. What did Sargon finally do? What did he finally do as far as getting paid and stuff? I can't remember.
I don't know exactly. I forgot where he went though exactly. But I'm not exactly sure what he did. I know that Sam Harris left Patreon. Matt Christensen left Patreon. Dave Rubin is supposed to start his own some kind of pay service, donation service or something like that. But he's having trouble starting it too. These businesses have so much leeway of what they can do. And it's just ridiculous. We need an internet bill of rights, basically. To me,
I agree.
Twitter blocking people. Twitter blocking people is tantamount to like when the phones were first invented, and then someone from the phone company goes, you know what, we don't like your political views. We're not going to let this side of the region even use phones. You have to use telegrams for now, or they'll monitor their phone call and says, hey, you can't make a phone call. You're stuck. You're done.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, like as far as like shadow banning and stuff, like I was a lot of times when I'll do a test video if I'm bringing something new in to see if this new software or like hardware works and how it's going to sound when I go public
Uh-huh.
with it. So I'll do like on YouTube when you're a creator channel, you can list your video as private. So like you say, okay, this is just for me,
Mm-hmm.
so I can watch how it plays out on YouTube, not just on my program. And then I was
Right.
I was doing a private video. I brought somebody else's YouTube video in, and they said something they probably shouldn't have said. But yet I just thought, well, it's private anyway. But even being private, it uploaded to YouTube, and suddenly I'm watching the main screen on YouTube as I'm doing the video, and all of a sudden, channel unavailable.
Mm-hmm.
They zapped it off.
Wow.
Even a private
Wow.
video because it was uploading to YouTube, and this was just somebody else's YouTube channel, and so like yeah,
Uh-huh.
they'll just they got the voice like this last call that called in, and I told him I said, hey, look, I can't have that on YouTube. YouTube's been good to me so far, and I can't put what you're saying on there because the voice recognition picks it up with the words or anything, and next thing you know they zap your
Mm-hmm.
video, and then everybody's sitting there wondering, oh, what happened to Jogger's video? And then you got to do a new event, restream it, and reboot, and then most of the people leave, and of course you come back, there's nobody there.
Right.
So but yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
totally agree. But no, I mean I've been hearing a lot about internet bill of rights. The only thing is, let's be honest,
Right. Yeah.
the Democrats have no interest in doing anything like that because
Well, they're gonna get it one day too. They're gonna get it one day too. So they can behoove everybody. But
yeah.
you're right. At this point, they're winning.
Yeah, I mean they like the fact they like the fact that we're all getting zapped off and and we're not able to communicate like Leila was saying, like he didn't get access notification. Well, I didn't get access I didn't get access notification either. The only way I knew to look for it was that I watched his morning video, one of his morning videos, and he said I'm going on. I thought he said noon. It turned out it was 12:30. I'm going on at noon, so around 11:30 or I was kind of looking for it, and around noon I was looking for it. It wasn't on my It wasn't on my homepage recommended. It wasn't on my subscription, which is crazy. My subscription homepage either. So I went to his channel, and there he was, and it says live show. So I mean, I had to go digging around for it, and considering I watched the guy every single day. I watch him, the analytics for my viewing of his, like I'll watch 2 hours of a 3 hour, live stream or sometimes the whole 3 hours. And I watch his other videos. So that definitely should be showing up on my recommended feed. And so, and that's just the way they just kind of try to suppress people from being able to talk to each other, communicate with each other,
Exactly.
And,
Exactly.
it's really sad. I mean, look, if you got a better argument, make it, But
Correct.
if your only argument is that, well, we're not going to let you talk because we can't argue with you because you have a better argument. We suck. Well, I mean, then the problem with that is then your sucky argument leads to sucky policies, and we all end up getting screwed. So, maybe it's a good idea that you get challenged once in a while and say, like this Ocasio-Cortez, great example. She puts all this stupid shit out, and then they take it down. But still, at first she put it all out. Well, that gave everybody a chance to look at it and go, hey, this is some pretty stupid shit. Where even Pelosi is saying, even Pelosi says, yeah, it's like, what do they call it? Like the green, I mean, she's being really sarcastic too.
The green deal?
Well, she, when Pelosi said, oh, I guess they call it like the green dream or something. I mean, they're for that, right? She was making fun of it. And
right.
Yeah, so I mean, that's the whole thing. You put your ideas out. Maybe if you got half a brain, and you don't get all defensive. Maybe when people criticize and say, hey, man, that's not going to work, maybe you go back to the drawing board. Or at least by all the criticism, then it doesn't get shoved down in some appropriations bill, and all these different policies that she's in favor of get kind of buried in a bill, and next thing you know, they're the law. So like by her opening her mouth so much, everybody's kind of keeping an eye on her and keeping an eye on anything she does. So if she does try to get anything in, first of all, I think the Democratic leadership is going to take care of her. I mean, I saw there was going to be a problem just on a woman-on-woman thing with Pelosi versus her. Pelosi's like, I'm the head bitch here. You're not. You're just a kid. Shut up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look at even Kathy Griffin. She even gets to keep her Twitter. I mean, if she doesn't qualify for getting off of Twitter, who does?
Oh, I agree. I mean, she still has a verified account, doesn't she, on Twitter?
Yeah. Yeah, she's on Twitter, and that other, was it a Korean woman that was talking all this nonsense about white people, and they not only kept her on, they gave her a check mark.
Oh, is that the one that went to work for the New York Times?
Yes, her. Yeah, that woman.
Yeah. So I
They gave her
mean,
a check mark afterward. I
that's
mean, and she was doing it for 2 years straight.
yeah. See, that's crazy. And then if conservative says something just a little bit out of line, like again that one video I ran from that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna say the word because I don't want this video getting zapped. But it wasn't really a bad word. And
Uh-huh.
trust me, I hear a lot worse from other sites that are on all the time, and don't get zapped off. But I
Yeah.
should have known better because he says,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I got zapped off of YouTube this morning for some reason. I don't know why." And then I'm playing and he starts talking. But again, I thought it was a private video, so I didn't think there was a problem anyway. But now I know. And so but yeah, if one of us says something
Yeah.
even just slightly, just a little bit off kilter, or you play somebody else's video where they say something off kilter, then yeah, we get zapped. But yeah, these guys, that the lady who's at the New York Times now with her Twitter feed, pretty much calling for all of us to get killed.
Yep.
Yeah, she's still on, and she gets a
Yep.
verified blue check mark.
Yep.
Well,
It's crazy, man.
I don't know. I don't know where it ends, though. I mean, these are all private companies, and the Democrats have no interest in doing anything to regulate them.
Well, this is the argument that people make on the alt-right as far as capitalism. And their stance, these companies, YouTube included, capitalism, they don't even care about making money. I mean, like, they don't even care that they're losing money by doing this. They want their ideology out there, and they're willing to put their company on the line for it.
Yeah, and the sad part is when the government was looking at regulating them, because they say, well, okay, if you're a publisher, you're going to be treated just like a publisher, like the New York Times or anything else. If you edit content, then you're now a publisher. Okay, you're now just like in New York Times. They said, oh, no, we're not going to be editing content. We're not going to be doing any of that. So they said, okay, so they got exemptions, and I forgot what year it was, 2010, 12, I don't know which year it was. So they got all these exemptions, so they're outside of that whole, defamation stuff and everything else, and they're not regulated by the feds. They don't have any regulations covering them like the media does. And, from like the FTC. So, not FTC, FCC, I'm sorry. So, but now they're editing content. I mean, I watched my video get zapped. It was a private video, so nobody got zapped with me, but I watched it get zapped. That's editing. That's editing content. That's, distinguishing.
Sure.
You're not just a platform putting everybody up there. You're saying this is on, that's off, and, the whole 3 strikes you're out thing from YouTube. You get 1 strike, 2 strikes, 3 strikes you're out. I don't know how they get around that law, but nobody's going to go back and do anything with it. And then, see, here's another thing, too. And this is like the thing with Google and YouTube. Okay, did you watch Tucker's show when remember they had that guy drive around with 2 different cell phones in D.C. for like 14-mile round trip and stopped at different places, and one phone he had on airplane mode, and one phone he had the location turned off, and he even had everything turned off, and then they came back and the guy plugs it in, and all of a sudden everywhere this guy had been was uploaded to Google. They showed exactly what was being uploaded, and they showed they could determine whether you were driving or stopped based on the speed you were moving. And I think the only place they missed, they had the address correct, but they had the place where it was a museum in D.C. somewhere. But they were tracking this guy's location all the way everywhere. I mean, exactly, like driving now, stopped at a stop sign, whatever. So look, all these congressmen, let's be honest, these guys, if you're meeting your secretary every Tuesday at this restaurant that also is a hotel, and you have your cell phone and she has her cell phone, and then they're tracking you, and then they see, oh well, okay, who does he know? And then they see, okay, this cell phone and this cell phone is at this restaurant for 3 hours, and this restaurant also has a hotel. It sits in the bottom of a hotel. Well, they know you're having an affair with your secretary, and these congressmen and these senators, they know all that. So I mean, like back in the day with like the super capitalists, like Carnegie and all those guys, they used to pay private detectives to find dirt on congressmen and senators and state senators. But now these senators and congressmen, forget they don't have to pay anything to find out shit about them. These congressmen pay a subscription plan and hand them all their dirty laundry. What sites they're viewing, what porn sites they're viewing. So none of these congressmen want to say anything bad about Google or YouTube because they're afraid they're going to get exposed on whatever they're doing. It's not just campaign money.
Very likely.
Yeah. So I think we're stuck.
Very likely.
I think we're stuck unless somebody comes up with a shitload of money to create a new kind of platform. To be honest with you, I don't know.
I don't know, man. It's gonna be so hard. It takes so much money to even run YouTube. And from what I hear, YouTube runs in the red anyways. I mean, it runs in the black as it is. I don't know how they're making money, but they lose money all the time.
Yeah, and they're like I remember they were when PragerU sued Google and YouTube. Their corporate structure was a little bit different than it is now. Because I remember the way he sued him initially, it was like I can't remember, like Google was like an LLC, and then YouTube was a wholly owned subsidiary, another LLC. And then I remember they had to change the caption because actually I think the corporate structure changed in mid lawsuit. But his lawsuit went nowhere. And he actually had a good case, and I was following that because it was in the U.S. District Court in Northern District of San Francisco. So I'm on Pacer and stuff. I have access to I downloaded.
Oh, cool.
I printed out the lawsuit itself. I printed out the motion hearings, the docket sheet. I was watching everything as it was going down the line, and then of course
cool.
Prager files for an injunction to stop YouTube from doing it, and then the defense files a motion for summary judgment at the same time. And they've got both are going to get hurt they're both going to get hurt at the same. First, they made them go to mediation, and that delayed it further. And then they finally got the hearing on the motion for summary judgment and for the injunctive relief, and she ruled on the motion for summary. It was an Obama appointee, the U.S. District Court judge, and she ruled that based on the law, since pretty much without me reading the ruling from the judge all over again, pretty much saying that since YouTube is a private actor. And, they're not a public actor. The First Amendment doesn't apply. But one thing she never got to, and she was able to avoid it, she didn't take up the state claims also, like under the UNRRA Act for unfair competition and stuff like that. She goes, well, since I'm dismissing all the federal claims, you can't bring a state claim. The state claim goes away with it. And you'd have to bring the state claim in state court. So I'll give you a chance to, she gave her two chances, either to amend the complaint and then whatever, or to just let the ruling go and to appeal it. So Prager knew, their attorneys knew that there was no way she was going to change her mind. So they just let the ruling stand and they took it up to the Ninth Circuit. I haven't been following it since it went to the Ninth Circuit, so I have no idea what happened.
Wow. Well, something needs to be done. Something needs to be done because you watch, and we're 2 years away from an election, and as it gets closer and closer, you're going to see a lot more conservatives lose their channels or lose their ability to get ideas out there. The mainstream media is no way to get news anymore. It's so corrupt. It's just astounding what they've gotten away with all these years.
Oh no, you can't if you're just watching the mainstream media. I mean that's why Trump had a cave on the wall issue, because the mainstream media, which is 24/7. I think we talked about this last night, which is pummeling people with these poor federal workers. They have to get food and they can't pay their bills, and this kid can't go see a doctor. I mean, it was all just hit pieces, and then and it's all been nothing but hit pieces since the State of the Union. Also, just Mueller this, Mueller that, Adam Schiff this, Adam Schiff that. Trump's family. I mean, like there's no other news going on in the world that's worth covering. Like North Korea is not worth covering. The Mexico trade agreement is not worth covering. Unemployment numbers. Great. None of that's worth covering. It's all Mueller, Trump. His family, and all this other shit. And so if you watch them for your news, you can't get shit. It's terrible.
Did you hear about the, all those reporters or all those writers that were laid off at one time?
Oh,
like all these news.
Yeah,
they were like
from where? From like, not Vice, from Vox or something? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, but there was a bunch of like online type of like websites, and they were all laid up at the same time. And the controversy, what they were saying was that people they were getting mad about getting Twitter tweets about learn to code. Have you heard about that little hashtag learn to code?
No.
Okay, so what happened was that I think some coal miners were laid off of work. Okay, and these writers were telling people, these coal miners, that they need to learn how to code. They need to, instead of like trying to be sympathetic about them losing their jobs, losing the whole entire industry, they were just saying, learn to code. You need to go to, these are guys from the Midwest or whatever, or East, and you guys need to move to the West Coast, learn to code, and learn a whole new, these are like 50-year-old guys, So when they were laid off, they were getting tweets saying hashtag learn to code when they lost all their jobs. These are like 100 reporters at the same time, So Twitter was banning people. Anyone that was hashtagging them learn to code, they were banning them off of Twitter for writing that.
And so learn to code, did it mean like learn to like become like a computer programmer or something? Or
right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So when they got to pay for their own medicine, Twitter went out and actively deleted people's either they suspended or they deleted people's accounts for writing and learning the code to these reporters.
Wow.
It's been happening. Yeah, it's a big story actually. It's all over the place. So I mean, like that was about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So what Tim Pool was saying was that he was saying that the reason why all these reporters were laid off at the same time was that these guys were paid by the Obama and Hillary administration. And these companies were able to pay all these beat writers to write all these like trash stories about, whatever they wanted them to do. And what happened was the money ran out. And that's the reason why they all got laid off at the same time.
Oh,
this is not like 20 people. This is like 100. This is like 100 or so people. And Tim Pool is a writer also, so he knows kind of inside stuff. He goes, it wasn't that they were making money because they were never making money for clicks. They were never ever making money. Their job was to just put out propaganda, basically.
Yeah, so
the money ran out.
Yeah, they were being subsidized by whoever.
The government.
The government. Well, I mean, how is the government managing to subsidize them? I don't get that. How does the government subsidize?
I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds kind of mad because it was were you on Access site this morning when he was talking about we show those two guys who do those angry tweets against Trump every time Trump tweets? These guys just they do a bunch of well, there's these two guys, Kassersteins, and I've seen. I mean, because I'll go to Trump's tweet every once in a while. They hit a like on it. And I'll look at some of the replies, and these guys are like all over the page. I mean, like he tweets something, they're like right on it, and they're tweeting all this fact-checking stuff on him. And so, first when they're being interviewed by Vice, a friendly interview, they were saying, "Oh yeah, we don't do this for the money. We get some money from advertising. We're not just grifters. We get some money from advertising, but we just put it right back into our business for better writers and stuff. But we really don't we really don't need it." And then later, I guess somebody came up, a friend of theirs, I don't know who, and they were talking to the guy in the kitchen. It wasn't an interview. He had a hidden camera, or he had a cell phone just turned on. You don't have to have a hidden camera anymore. You just have a cell phone just turn it on, I guess. And the guy was saying, "Oh, so like, do you have a regular job, or how do you make your money?" He goes, "Oh, we have some really big sponsors that pay us to stir up shit, and stir up controversy on Trump." And the guy's admitting to all this, saying like, these big donors, they just want to go after Trump and attack Trump and stuff. So they don't take any money from the advertising, the little advertising money they get on Twitter, because they got these big donors, giving them their payroll and backing them up. And their only job is just to attack Trump and the guy even said, he used the word, try to divide the country and stuff. He actually said that out loud. It's like crazy. And so,
wow,
it's
amazing.
They
don't even care. They're so blatant.
No, because
they don't even care.
What's going to happen to him? Nothing.
Nothing.
And how many people are going to see that video? Like, the conservatives will watch it, and then of course, the liberals they won't even watch it, and then if they do watch, they'll say, "Oh, good, yeah, it's good."
Yeah.
I just don't. I don't get it.
True. It is true that the majority of the population of America, they don't really follow politics. And I don't blame them. It's really hard to follow. I mean, I have a job where I can sit there on the internet for like hours. But if you don't really focus on it, all you hear is some talking points here and there. And you're going to believe a lot of things that are not correct. It's really hard to follow sometimes, There's always stories that I don't know about. And that's why I kind of come here to hear things I haven't heard. So these recaps are good for me.
Well, yeah, I mean that was the whole point of YouTube to begin with. It's called YouTube. It's like this is for you. This is for you to be able to share information, to communicate with others and stuff. And now, of course, it's not really YouTube anymore. It's more like MeTube. It's us. It's like YouTube's company.
Right.
They determine what you're going to get to hear and what you're not going to hear. But yeah, I mean, if you want to get news, real news, you have to go watch a goddamn YouTube video. I mean, it's really sad because even Fox, they won't cover everything. They won't cover everything you want. They won't cover a lot of things. They don't want to put out there because they don't want to get slammed. They're afraid they're going to have a mob outside their front door and demanding them, and their sponsors are going to walk away over some kind of scandal or what somebody said. Lauren Ingram says one sentence that's bad, and suddenly she loses half her sponsors. I mean, they can't afford that, so they purposely avoid stories that could potentially lead to conversations that could get them, lose their sponsors. And they lose their sponsors, they got no money.
Right.
So you have to come to YouTube to actually get some real stories. Like watching Tim. Tim's always good for stories. I'll watch Tim. I'm like, oh, I didn't see that. Or Sargon. He'll pick up. He'll do a deep dive into a story. But yeah, if you want a good deep dive, you have to watch some of these guys, 15, 20-minute YouTube videos just to go, oh shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but and for the average viewer, though, the average American, like I have relatives, I ask them about these. I have friends, and I ask them about certain things, and they're like clueless. I mean, either they don't care or they're just kind of like, just kind of caught up with life, and basically they're just kind of not really, I guess, invested into it, I guess. But, for those people, getting news is really hard, I guess, for what they do see.
Well, a lot of people, I remember I was in college, and one professor was talking about, like, most people, they watch, like, Joker's Wild or, some sitcom or something like that. Most people, when they get home, don't even watch, like, even the local news. I mean, there was I remember on the college we were discussing this, and part of the class was talking about, like, how people get their information, and it was just amazing the number of people who don't even watch their local news, or how many minutes the average viewer will watch even the local news. Like, they'll watch the first 3 or 4 minutes maybe, and maybe catch the weather at the end or something. And that was before we had back in the 80s, so before you had the internet and everything. So even then, when the only source of information you got was from the newspaper or from the networks, people weren't even watching that. And so it's like, if people just walk around, I couldn't just walk around clueless, not knowing what's going on around me. Not knowing, when I was always been I'm always curious, I guess, like, what the hell's going on around me? I want to know, but the numbers were just amazing about how few people watch the news, how much fewer people would read a newspaper, and then the amount of time people would spend actually, when they did watch, the amount of time they would spend watching it. And it was just amazing that so many people don't educate themselves into what's going on even in their own community. That's the local news. Even in their own community, they won't watch. It's a lousy 22-minute news show with plus commercials. They won't even sit down for a full half hour. Yeah. So but hopefully with the internet, and then a lot of YouTube creators are pretty entertaining. So you get the news, like acts, you get the news, and you get entertainment at the same time. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah, I do Red Elephants as well. Vince is pretty good. Vince is pretty. He's legit. I like his views. He stays in the middle. He tries to really give it to you honestly. So he's a good channel to listen to as well. You mentioned that a couple times.
Wait, hold it. Which guy? You say Tim again, or did you say somebody else?
I said Vince from Red Elephant.
Oh, Vince. Yeah, I watch him all the time. Yeah, I like watching him. He's pretty. He's entertaining too. That's the thing about him. He knows how to be entertaining when he does his videos. He does a really good production as well. He's got all the production laid out and stuff. He does a lot of graphs and everything. So he kind of breaks it down where it's easy to understand, and he's kind of he's on a mission. You can tell he's very kind of mission oriented in what he does. Plus, he lives in California, so Jesus, he's like Grindel. He lives in California, and he has to, like, put up with all these people around him that are just. He lives in Orange County, if I'm not mistaken, but still, he still has to put up with a whole bunch of liberals running around chasing after him and stuff, I guess. So it gets to be pretty hairy for him, I would imagine.
Crazy. Well, Carl, I'm gonna enjoy the show. Keep on your rap. I like the rap battle. I like it. It's pretty smooth. It's a good little break. Everybody gets entertained, and then continue on, buddy. Thanks for taking my call, man.
All right, Voltron. Hey, thanks for calling in, man. Have a good one.
All right, buddy. I will call again. Thanks, buddy.
All right, bye-bye. And that was the great Voltron calling in. And again, another great discussion. Thanks for the callers tonight. And let's see, there's one story I didn't see. I was trying to pull up here. Let's take a look. But if anybody wants to call in, the phone number is area code 775-273-8970. And if you have the courage to appear on a live video link phone call, which means you would appear, let's see if I can find it real quick. Where is it? Where'd it go? I don't know where it went. It should be here somewhere. Oh, here we go. You want to appear on a live video link phone call, which means it would look just like this, except where that black box is. That would be you. You would be on TV for millions of people to see you around the world. Literally, you'd be the ability for hundreds of millions, if not billions of people to see you. Now, I'm not saying they're all going to tune in, but, maybe if you're on, maybe they would. So you could appear right there. You just got to send me an email to what it says right there, ca2jogger@gmail.com, and then I will shoot you back an email with a video link. You click on it, and you it's real easy. I mean, it's like, so, I mean, I tested it out before I started doing it. And, you just type in your username on your phone or whatever, punch it in, and then hit join call, and then boom, a few minutes, not even a few seconds, you see a box show up, and then a few seconds later, see me show up, and then bang, you're on, and you're all the way around the world for people to see. But yeah, so or you can just call in, and then again, 775-273-8970. Let me see if I can find this one story real quick. I was pulling it up. Let's see where we are. Boom. Here we go. Let's see. Next. Okay, here we go. Let's see how the Democrats can help kill the economy here. We got Mr. Lalo on the phone again. Mr. Lalo. Hey, Mr. Lalo, how you doing there, guy?
Hey, Carl. I know, I'm sorry, baby. I don't mean to call you all the time. Hey, listen, I just wanted to ask you, how can I get the video, meaning like the face video? Do I have to?
You mean the rap video?
Go to the. Yeah. Do I have to go to the computer? Or,
well, no,
or
that's not a fake video. That's a real rap video. What are you talking about?
No. Okay. I'm very slow. I'm not like you. I'm not like right away. Meaning, when I talk to you to be in the camera, do I have to go to the computer? Is this like
oh, no. You can do it as long as do you have Google on your phone?
No, I do have Google. Yes, I do.
Okay,
I do.
All you got to do, shoot me an email. Okay, I will shoot you an email back, and then on Google. Okay, within the response, my response to your email, just push on the just click on the link, and then it'll say enter your username, and real simple, and then it'll say join call, join video, whatever it says, join something, and hit push the button.
I got you. I got, but now the email. Now your email. I know you sent me something before. Every time you send the live show, I get your email. Now, do I have to click to that? Or
yeah, you got to
send me
because like when you get an email, that's not coming from me. That's coming from YouTube, I guess. Because I'm not sending it out, so I don't. I don't have your address, your email address in my email. So yeah, you would need to shoot me another email. Just shoot me an email. Don't reply to the email you got, from YouTube saying, "Hey, Jogger's on." Send me a new email to that email address. Yeah, and I'll get up on that.
So let me get this straight. I'm not gonna. I don't reply to the YouTube email. So which email I'm gonna reply? I just want to make sure I get the right stuff.
Well, don't. Okay. First of all, you're gonna send me an email first. You can say, "Hey, this is Lalo," right? You take your email, you can compose an email to me, to ca2jogger@gmail.com. Okay, I will receive that email. When I receive it, I will reply to your email, and I'll send you the link. Okay? And that link, and then just click on that link when you get it. So I'll go look at my email. So yeah, do you have the address is right in front of you there. If you want, I can put it in the chat because you could just click on it from the chat. I'm pretty sure. You want me to do that?
Yeah,
Yeah. Hold on. Hold on.
I'm not embarrassed.
No.
The only thing I'm embarrassed, I feel like a little kid, man. I don't do this. I feel like a little virgin.
Oh God.
I don't do this all the time, man. So it's like, oh man, I gotta ask all these questions, But by the way, I don't want to take anybody's place over here. I know this is my third time calling.
Well, no, but if you want to appear on a video, look, if you want to appear on a video, you go to the front of the line.
Well, I'm not gonna do it now. I was just
okay.
curious, so
Oh,
hopefully
okay,
next time
okay.
I'll do it. So that's all. That's all I was calling. So hopefully
Oh,
next
okay.
time I can call you.
Okay,
So.
yeah. So next time, what you do is, and then just put in the chat room that, hey, I sent you an email, Carl, because I don't keep the email open while I'm doing this. So then I'll just pull up my email, look at it, and then I'll just shoot you. I have the email on a tab, but I don't keep it open, obviously, when I'm doing this. You know what I'm saying? So
Right. Of
yeah,
course, I got you.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what, Carl? Definitely next time I will try. I'll let somebody else call. But hey, let me tell you, so far, the whole chat, man, very nice, man. I mean, it's always nice, but today is great. Boltrum, man, good topics, man. But very smart guy, man. I mean, serious. You too, by the way. You too. You're really good, Carl. Very smart. I mean, you are a very smart man. But anyway, all right, stop. I'm gonna stop
Wait,
kissing ass, man.
hold it. I'm also
All right, what's up, Carl? What's up?
I'm also a very handsome man. Don't forget that.
Yes, you are. And the mustache, man, the mustache is a killer. The mustache is a fucking killer, brother.
There you go. That's it, man. That's it.
Anyway, thank you, Carl, for your time, man. Always good, and thanks for the info, man. All right, look, love the channel, love everybody, love the info. Thank you, man, and love everybody. So call Carl, man. He's a great guy. I'm gonna be listening to the channel. Thank you again. See you.
All right, bye. All right, and that was the great Lalo calling in. Thank you again, Mr. Lalo. And yes, the calling number is area code 775-273-8970. And again, if you do want to appear in a live video link, just shoot me an email to the email address on the screen. Just put in the chat that you sent me an email so I know you did. Anyway, so let me get to this story right here. Again, this is courtesy of the Washington Times. Let me pull this up real quick. We have a phone call coming in. Let's just see who this would be. Hi, this is Carl's Opinion. I'm with Carl's Opinion. This is Carl. Who's this? Hello? They hung up. Must be a wrong number. Anyway, so let's see what we got here. All right, and let's get to this story right here. And let's see, we should be big enough to be able to see. Yeah, I can read it. All right, so let's cut across. Boom. And let's see. Now I'm on the wrong side again. All right. Oh, one. Boom. There I am. All right. So, House Ways and Means Committee, Democrats ready demand for Trump taxes. Here we go. Watch. Here come the Democrats to destroy the economy. Yes, the economy is doing so awful. Unemployment is so high right now. Inflation is so high right now. Interest rates are through the roof right now. I mean, my God, it's stagflation everywhere. And, so we need to do something to fix that. I'm being sarcastic, of course. Everything's great. Unemployment's down. Inflation is down. Interest rates are low. And the economy's going through the roof. Gangbusters. Okay? So, of course, the Democrats are like, well, things are just going too good. We got to figure out how to screw this up. So here they come. So let's see what they have to let's see what they have to say now. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is actually a different story, but anyway. They're asking for, I apologize. They're asking for the tax returns. I'm sorry. Mix it up. We got a phone call coming in. Let's see who this is. Area code 604, you're on with Carl's Opinion. Who is this, please? Hello. All right, well, we will not be taking any more of those phone calls. It's a big waste of time. So I apologize. I did mix up this story with another story I wanted to cover. But anyway, this is them seeking the tax returns of the president. So anyway, again, Washington Times, what are they going to say? The Treasury, Democrats ready demand for Trump taxes. For some reason, they need to see his tax returns because reasons. Okay, so here we go. The Treasury entered uncharted territory if it refused the House tax writing panel's demand for someone's tax returns, an expert told lawmakers Thursday as Democrats set the table for a potential showdown with President Trump. I don't see any wiggle room in the statute for the secretary to refuse a request, said George Kay Yin, a professor at the University of Virginia School of Law, told the House Ways and Means Subcommittee. House Democrats are pushing legislation that would compel presidents, vice presidents, and anyone who runs for the White House to disclose 10 years of their tax returns. It's a proposal that's unlikely to pass the GOP-led Senate, though. Yeah, see, here's the problem with this. It's like, see, we have elections, and generally, like, if the only time you really get those kind of tax returns and stuff is like, for instance, when Rockefeller was taking over VP slot for Gerald Ford, and Gerald Ford had taken over for Spiro Agnew, and then since they're not being vetted, they have to be voted on by the Senate because they weren't vetted by the election. But here's the whole thing with an election, especially modern day. The candidates get vetted big time. I mean, every reporter is chasing around. Everybody's turning up everything they can get their hands on. Now, whether or not you want to release your tax returns, that's up to you. Now, if the voters say, hey, we want to see your tax returns, and if you don't show them to us, we're not going to vote for you, well, then that's up to the candidate to decide whether he's willing to take that risk. But that's a risk that is between the candidate and the people and us, the people who are actually, voting to elect the president of the United States. So if a candidate doesn't want to release his tax returns, well, that's on him. If people want to vote for him anyway without that release, so be it. If they say, hey, no, we're really pissed off about this, you better release your tax returns or you're going to lose, and say he doesn't release his tax returns and then you lose, they'll say, well, he should have released his tax returns. But it's funny, though. If you notice, this is legislation coming from Congress, right? If you notice, they're saying, oh, it only applies to the president and the vice president. Notice it doesn't say anything about anybody in Congress. Anybody running for, say, the Senate, or anybody running for the House. I mean, that's kind of interesting. They're saying, well, because I guess, that's the president. That's really important. Well, no, a senator is really important. One senator can make a big difference. John McCain proved that when he voted down on, repealing Obamacare. That one vote, that was big. Okay, so I mean, why not demand? If you demand of the executive branch, demand it of the legislative branch. Demand it of Congress, the House and the Senate. Do that. But no, they won't touch that because they don't want to release their tax returns. I mean, especially since they've been thinking they never had to release them ever, and then suddenly now they got to release them. It's like, whoa! Although I'm sure there's a grandfather clause saying, for them they put one in there saying, well, anybody who's running in the future. Well, they'll be running in the future. Congress will be running. They run every 2 years, and the Senate runs every 6 years. So anyway, let's see what it says here. The move would use an existing law that empowers the Ways and Means chairman to request someone's tax returns from the Treasury and review them. Republicans rebuffed the idea in the first 2 years of Mr. Trump's tenure, though Democrats sweep to majority changed all that. Let's see here. Sweep to majority changed all that. Let's see. Republicans, 2 years, Democrats, majority changed the playing field. Representative Bill Passerelle, New Jersey Democrat, said Congress has every right to get someone's returns, especially if they fear there are conflicts of interest or irregularities within them. Again, that's up to the voters to decide. And then the next story, National Prayer Breakfast. Let's see. Trump calls for protection of the unborn. Oh, that's good. Amid heavy criticism of late-term abortion policies and proposals in New York and Virginia, President Trump said Thursday that society must protect the unborn. All children born and unborn are made in the holy image of God, the president said at the annual National Prayer Breakfast in Washington. Part of our commitment to building a just and loving society, we must build a culture that cherishes the dignity and sanctity of innocent human life. At his State of the Union address, Mr. Trump slammed and battled Virginia Governor Ralph Northam, a Democrat who supported a proposal that would have allowed late-term abortions up to the moment of birth. I mean, literally the moment of birth, and possibly, like this article says, possibly after birth. During the prayer breakfast, Mr. Trump did his best to discuss either law, and there's one story at the top here. Hold on. Let me get to it real quick. Federal courts. Judge orders release of Cohen raid papers. A federal judge in New York on Thursday, here we go, ordered the release of search warrants and materials used to authorize the raid on President Trump's former attorney, Michael Cohen. U.S. District Court Judge William Paul III granted part of a request made by 9 media organizations to release the materials. The public interest in the underlying subject matter of the materials, which implicates the integrity of the 2016 presidential election, is substantial, he wrote in a 30-page opinion. Wow. You know you're on shaky ground. You know you're on shaky ground, and you are going to get criticized when you have to take 30 pages to explain yourself on a probably what it sounds like a very limited scope of inquiry. Very limited scope, whether or not to release the search warrant affidavits, that allow them to go into Michael Cohen's house and offices, to look for information on his client. So if you have to write 30 pages to cover your ass, to cover your tracks, he knew he was on shaky ground, and possibly he was making a decision. He already had a decision. He was going to do it anyway, and now he just needed to find some law and some facts to back it up, and hence it took 30 pages. When you're in the right and you're writing an order like that, 5, 6 pages with footnotes, referencing other cases, maybe. Okay, I'll say 10, maybe 10, 12 pages for an order. I've seen, 10, 12-page orders. Okay. 30 pages? Yeah. I mean, he's thrown everything in there but the kitchen sink and every law he can find that gives him some kind of leeway or latitude that when you take the public interest versus the privacy of, the person who's the search warrant was the target of the search warrant or targets of the search warrant. Because remember, it wasn't just to find dirt on Cohen, it was to find dirt on the president. So, and I'm sure the affidavit specified the president's name as well. And obviously, the judge has the search warrant in front of him. He's reading it because they, to submit it. He had it, either he signed it, or a magistrate signed it, or another judge signed it. And obviously, since it's the subject of it, it gets disclosed to him in a sealed filing. He reads it. Obviously, all the parties to the case get to read it. The question is whether he was going to release it to the public through the several media outlets that wanted to see it. So anyway, 30 pages though. Just to let you know, if a judge is writing a 30-page opinion, he's on shaky ground. So, pull this down real quick. He said some documents must remain secret because releasing them could jeopardize ongoing investigation. Oh, here we go, including those pertaining to or arising from Cohen's campaign finance crimes. Oh, yeah. In other words, we don't. What he's saying is, I'm not going to release the stuff you really want to see. And two, probably because it's so full of shit that he knows if he releases, the public's going to go, well, that was full of shit. I mean, how could a judge have signed that search warrant application based on these faulty facts and faulty evidence? So that's the main reason why he's not going to release it. It's either covering his ass or covering one of his colleagues' asses. Jesus. Tell you the bullshit and Nam got so deep he needed wings to stay above it. And then there was Chef, Sauce from New Orleans. He looked wrapped too tight for Vietnam. Hell, he looked wrapped too tight for New Orleans. Then there was Lance on the forward 50s. He's a surfer from the beaches south of L.A. One look at Lance, looked like he never fired a weapon in his life. Then there was Clean, Mr. Clean. He was from some South Bronx shithole. I think all the light in the space really put the zap on him. And then there was Chief. It might have been my mission, but it sure as shit was the Chief's boat. Da-da-da. If you can guess the movie where those lines came from, you will get a special prize from me. I'm not going to say what that prize is. And also you have to name the actor whose voice I was imitating. The actor and the name of the movie that I was referring to in that little quote there. So if you can do that, the first one to do it, I should say, the first one in the chat to do it gets a special prize from Carl's Opinion, a.k.a. Carl. So we'll see. Let me look at the chat. See if anybody's taking me up on this. Let's see. Anybody? Laura, have a good one. Miss Laura Sanders, have a good one. And let's see. Anybody be able to guess that quote? International Nin. Yeah, it's 10:30 here. I better get some shut-eye for work. Night, everybody. Good night. Ithel Nin. Appreciate you coming by. Fantastic. Thanks for coming by and stopping by. And see if anybody can guess the name of the movie that I gave that quote from. My little lines there. And again, you will get a special prize from Carl's Opinion. If you want, I'll repeat it, but let's see. But no, I probably won't. But you have to guess. Hopefully, that'll see if you were paying attention. Mr. Acting, sorry. Oh, I tell you what, I'll do it real quick for Effie Real. Okay, so So let's see. Then there was Lance on the forward 50s. Well, look at him. He looked like he had never fired a weapon in his life. He was some surfer dude from the beaches south of L.A. Then there was Chef. He was some saucier from New Orleans. He looked wrapped too tight for Vietnam. Hell, he looked wrapped too tight for New Orleans. And then there was Clean, Mr. Clean. He's from some South Bronx shithole. I think all the light in the space from Vietnam really put the zap on him. And then there was Chief. It might have been my mission, but it sure as shit was a Chief's boat. Da-da-da! So if you guess the movie and the actor who I was imitating, then you get a special prize from Carl. Yes, you get a cigarette, Lalo. You will get a cigarette mailed from me to wherever you want me to mail it to. You will get a cigarette. In fact, thank you, Lalo. I was gonna quit smoking tonight, in fact, but now that you put a cigarette up there, now I want to have a cigarette. Now I gotta have one. I was getting ready to quit tonight. Nope. That was close, but no, it was not Run Forrest Run movie. Nope, it was not Forrest Gump. It's happening right now. Was that nope? Was that a movie title? If that was a movie title, Talise, that was in it. Okay. I mean, I said the word Vietnam, so that gives you a big hint. Oh, Effie Real wins with Apocalypse Now. You get a special prize, Effie Real. Yes, it was Apocalypse Now. That was Martin Sheen doing the narration when he first got on the boat and he was heading up the Nung River to go get Colonel Kurtz. Yes, then he was talking about the guys on the boat. You know, Mr. Clean. That was actually, if you can guess who the actor was that played the part of Mr. Clean, of Clean. No, wrong. Voltron, it was not Full Metal Jacket. But if you can guess the actor who played Clean in the movie Apocalypse Now, you'll get a second special prize from Carl's Opinion. The actor who played Clean in the movie Apocalypse Now. Da-da-da. I'll give you a hint. Should you take the red pill or the blue pill? Da-da-da-da. So, if you can guess the actor who played Clean in a movie Apocalypse Now, you get another special prize. Another special prize. Yep, I love the smell of napalm in the morning. That was said by... God, now I can remember. God, who was that actor? Damn. Shit. I can only quote the Matrix trilogy and Purple Rain. Actually, the actor who said you can take the blue pill or the red pill was the actor who played Clean in Apocalypse Now. So you should know that, Talise. Because if you can quote the Matrix, then you know who the actor was that says you can either. Yep, Lawrence Fishburne. Talise, you got it. Okay, so we got two prizes. One going to Talise and one going to Effie Real. The prize is you get a special shout out from Carl's Opinion. Effie Real, yay! Effie Real, yay! Talise Williams, yay! Talise Williams, yay! Da da da. Yeah, that was excellent. But yeah, so Lauren, yep, yeah, a little bit late. Lawrence Fishburne, yep, you got it late. Talise beat you to it, Mr. Great Douchebag. No, Layla wasn't Platoon. Layla, the movie's already been guessed. It was Layla. You're already out. It was already Apocalypse Now, man. It was already Apocalypse Now. You missed it. Yeah. All right. Can't help you. Okay. All right. Now, can you get? No. Okay. We'll stay off Apocalypse Now. We'll get to another movie trivia facts here in a little bit. Let's see. So let's see. What were we talking about? Donald Trump's tax returns. Okay. So they want his tax returns. I think they're looking to hopefully find like some line item where he says, like on his Schedule C or something, or his corporate tax return that says, like one line item that comes in, or no, an expense from him to Putin, like $10 million, and it says for communications, and it says, what was that $10 million for? Were you giving Vladimir Putin $10 million to give you the email communications? And they say, now we know. Or tax returns will show a whole bunch of business investments in Russia. It's like, you want Putin to succeed so you can get your business deals done in Russia because, that's the only place to do business for the Trump team. The only place they know how to do business is in Russia. So it's like, I'm going to build a hotel in Moscow. It's like, gee, okay. And Yeah, I'm gonna make some money on it. Yeah, okay. Well, that's bad. You can't do that. So, but let me get me down. You don't want to have to see me twice. Let's see. Oh, former Representative John Dingell died. Yeah, we heard about that. And let's see what else we got going on here. And see, I'm trying to cover one more story. Let's take a look. What's going on in the world? Let's see. Nope. Let's see. All right, so here's a story. Cover this real quick. Boom. Well, actually, no, let's not go there. Let's go up here. See if we can find it. There we go. Boom. Carl's opinion. And boom. There's me. All right. So there's a call-in number there up top there, right above me. Right above me there. 775-273-970. Carl's opinion. And as the sign says, call now. That's a joke. But anyway, so Israel, Netanyahu, I'm terrible at name. The Prime Minister of Israel channels Trump in re-election bid by the Washington Times again. Jerusalem, seeking re-election under a cloud of criminal investigations, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu looks to be channeling his inner Donald Trump in a populist campaign against perceived domestic enemies. Huh. Well, see, they want him gone because he's doing the right thing. Anytime you do the right thing, they got to get rid of you, unfortunately. So, okay, here we go. Okay, drawing clear inspiration from Mr. Trump, Mr. Netanyahu, Likud Party has plastered huge billboards of the two leaders together and launched a Trump-like weekly webcast to counter what it calls the fake news industry. Yep, they have fake news in Israel, just like they have here. Yeah, see, in Israel, if you're a social justice warrior in Israel, like a snowflake, basically you just want the Palestinians to cross your border. Kind of, does that sound familiar? To cross your border. Of course, they built a wall, so they want the wall torn down, and just let these people just come in and take over your country. That's pretty much about it. Oh, we got a phone call coming in from the Great Douchebag. And Mr. Great Douchebag, how you doing? You're on with Carl's Opinion, man. How's it going?
Yo, what's up, Carl? How you doing? What's going on?
Doing okay. Doing all right.
Nunez said, oh, yeah, no, they said, Nunez said that the lines were turned off because there's too many trolls. I'm like, geez, I haven't even gotten here yet. The trolls are gone, man.
Oh no, I didn't turn the lines. Why did Nonya try calling in? Because I didn't turn the lines off. But what I do is I won't give my secret away, but I can screen the phone call. No. I can screen the phone call, so I'm the only one hearing it until I decide to put it on YouTube. So before, like if I see your name punch up, obviously I know it's you. Nonya, I'm pretty sure I got Nonya as a contact. If I see people I know, I let it go on. But if it's somebody I don't know for sure, then I check the guy out first. And I had a couple of guys, I just had to say, no, I'm not putting you on. Sorry. You're like, why not, man? What? Well, just saying really stupid shit. Just saying. I mean, if you're home and you're bored and you see a live call-in show, I don't know, maybe it's okay. I mean, you feel like, hey, I'll just call in and fuck with this guy. There's other ways. That's not a bad way to entertain yourself, I guess. So that's okay. But hey, so what are you up to today, man?
Nothing much. I was a douchebag all day. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, I tell you, it's a long day. Long day and long week, and this whole government thing, it's oh, is this open topic or is this
no. Oh, yeah. Now this time I did put in the description open topic. So I remember to do it this time. Okay. Finally, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, whatever you want to talk about.
I just wanted to be on the same page with everybody in the chat because I kind of came in late, I know. But it's interesting. So I attract the trolls, really? Wow.
Yeah,
man,
I think it's definitely you because they only come around when you're like on the chat room. Yeah, they must follow you here because you must go harass them.
Are you serious?
I think no, I'm not completely serious. But I mean, they come around other times, but I think like you go harass them and then they chase you to where you're going. They chase you over here. So you lead them right
Oh,
to
wow.
lead them right to us. No, I get a lot of like I'll be watching Axe's site, and I notice he doesn't get like any trolled phone calls, and I'm like, wow, man.
Because
But
most,
and Axe has a lot of subs, and I have like hardly any, and but yet I'll get all these trolls calling in and stuff.
I'm like, well, it's like, because really all just insult establishment politicians. You know what I mean? Because I'm not the kind of guy who curses. I don't like to use profanity. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because anybody can curse and scream, but if you're gonna insult somebody, be intelligent about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Because again, if you got to curse at somebody, you've lost the argument. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You resort to name calling. What's interesting, and I was having a conversation with somebody earlier today, and they were like, we were talking about like how these progressive or the globalists are using, and I know I mentioned this many times before, but how these globalists look, to try and bankrupt each state or try to, turn each state into California by pushing policies, yada, yada, And he's like, well, some of these people, because it seemed like he's kind of newly red pill, I could tell. But anybody who's red, say people who are waking up, sometimes if they try to look at that they try to find out or research and they look at videos, sometimes if they look at someone like Derek Grayson or, they may want to stick more with a libertarian perspective as opposed to because Derek Grayson is he's very conservative. He doesn't really, he's not a libertarian by any means. At least I don't get that when I listen to his videos. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, he's definitely straight up conservative. Yeah.
Yeah, because even though I'm not really, I respect religion and all that. Even though I really don't go to church much, I still respect people's rights to be able to pray and and it's like people, and again, like how we were talking about, people can marry who they want to marry. You know what I'm saying? I support people being happy. You know what I'm saying? People's happiness. You know what I'm saying? But many people who are coming off of that, getting red pilled for the first time, I always try to tell them, look, get like Stexenhammer. Stexenhammer is very, very libertarian, and he's actually say Ben Shapiro. Not necessarily like Gavin McInnes, because he's way too far right for me. But somebody like Ben Shapiro or Charlie Kirk, they're more libertarian in their point of views. Same thing with Stexenhammer than someone like Derek Grayson. Someone like Derek Grayson is probably for somebody who is in the middle of their research, or somebody who's trying to, find out what's going on. Because let's face it, most people don't read nowadays, but you do have the people who have the mindset and open-minded enough that they'll look at, they might seek somebody out whose commentary can explain to them what's going on or how things are going on.
Yeah.
Like many people say Brandon Straka. He still holds all of his values. He still holds his values. It's the party that left him. He didn't leave the party. The party left him.
He just saw the biggest problem I think he had was he saw how the Democrats were trying to, pin people against each other. Trying to get this group to fight this group to fight this group, and the whole intersectionality thing, and then who's on top of the food chain for the best victim award. And he just saw that. He started being real destructive. And because I was following him a lot when he first came on these YouTube channels, not so much on Twitter, but when he got to YouTube, then I started following. I was following all the video blogs that everybody was putting out and stuff. And would have liked to have gone to D.C. for both the Young Black Leadership Summit and for his walkaway movement march. I just couldn't get away for that time period. But they both that must have been a great weekend. They were both going on at the same time in D.C. and a lot of the guys were hanging out with each other. There's a lot of people from this group playing with this group and back and forth. But he just saw how they were pitting people against each other and how divisive that was. And he was like, no, this ain't right. People are gonna get hurt. People are gonna get hurt. And he's right, and that's why he walked away. And good for him.
It's funny because, in fact, if you notice, they have not been doing that anymore. Like Maxine Waters, and Cory Booker, or no, Eric Holden. No, I'm sorry, not Eric. Eric Holder.
Yeah.
You know, he's when we go low, we kick them. You know, they've shut up about a lot of that crap. You know, excuse my language, but you know, they've shut up a lot about that crap. You know,
I think
you know,
yeah. Go ahead.
No, because they don't. You know, because you know, they know. I mean, the Democrats know they're losing their base. You know, they're losing the African American vote. They're losing the Latino vote, or the Latin vote. I'm sorry, the Latin vote. You know, they're losing their base. You know, and what they're doing. You know, obviously they're going to continue to demonize. You know, not to make this a racial issue, but they're going to continue to demonize white people. You know, I mean, I'm half Latin. You know, so it's like, because I'm white, because I disagree, because I'm half Latin and I disagree with, I got to vote Democrat, I'm like, hell no. I'm an independent. I think for myself, groupthink is for party affiliation. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
I lean a lot more right because of the way the Democrat Party is acting right now, because I miss the old centrist Democrats. I miss the blue dog Dems, but they have been, again, I know I said this before, but they've been purged from the party because they don't want those moderate Democrats in their, voting, they don't want those Democrats that have a constitutional voting record close to 80 or 70 or, I mean, even 60 is a high number, it's not, obviously you want to have people in office that are going to vote, Constitution, have a good constitutional voting record,
Right.
But, right now at this point in time, we got to, for me, if they have a 60 or higher, that's better than 40 or 50, I mean, because, right now, I mean, we're going to be in for, we haven't even gotten to March and we're already in a wild ride, with the Democrats.
Yeah, it's crazier already. I mean, it's only going to get crazier.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, the right is showing a huge amount of restraint. They are showing, I don't think I've ever seen, the restraint shown like what I've seen on the right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because, they don't, and I know, like in our last conversation, these verified liberals do not understand that there was a growing tension between the conservative, the rural Christian, well, mostly the rural Christian conservative base, but Christian, but basically with the Christian conservative population of this country. They don't understand that it is their ideology and their pushing of this backwards thinking. They're not even progressives. They want to take us back to basically the Dark Ages.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
They don't.
Yeah. They're regressive. I mean, look, they want to take us back to a time when, for some reason, the older people have a memory lapse of 1989. See, I looked up Ocasio-Cortez's date of birth, and if I'm not mistaken, the wall came down like November 13th of 1989, something like that, and she was born October. I think I wrote it down. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on.
God, she's such an idiot.
Okay, she was born. Okay, here we go. She was born October 13th, 1989, and she was. Where did I write it down? I can't remember now. Shit. Okay, let me see. It's I think it was 18 days different. 27 days. She was born 27 days before the wall came down. So she has no memory of the of those. See, and the people celebrating on that wall that night were her age now. Yeah. They were 29, 28 in their 20s. So the people standing up there were like her age, and they were just as enthusiastic, but they were educated and enthusiastic. In other words, they knew what socialism was. They saw their they saw their parents having to live through it. They had to live through it. They saw how horrible it was, and so they're up on the wall celebrating. Socialism's over, communism's over. We're going to be free. Yeah. And obviously she was just a kid. She was only born a few days before that wall came down, so she can't relate to people who are her age then. But I'm sure if she talked to somebody like her age then, which would be like us, and say, "Hey, what was it like? What was it like living in Hungary or Bulgaria or Romania or Poland or Czechoslovakia or East Germany?" She probably doesn't even know there was such a thing as East Germany or East Berlin.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, if you said,
Yeah.
"Okay, show me where East Germany was on the map, of Germany. Show me where that was." She'd be clueless.
Yep.
It would she'd be like, "There was an East Germany, really?" I mean, she took international studies, but I guarantee you she couldn't tell you about East Germany, or even tell you that there was a country called Czechoslovakia, or tell you, what it was like in Poland. But those people were so happy and celebrating so much that that the Cold War was over, that they were going to be free, they were going to be able to have democracy and capitalism, and they weren't going to be under central control and coercion. And she can't relate to those people. But they were her age. They were just as enthusiastic and goofy, except they were a lot more educated than she is. And because her her 4-year degree, I don't know how she got through her 4 years. I have no clue how she got through her 4 years, because she learned absolutely nothing about economics or about international relations. And supposedly that was a double major, or one was a major and one was a minor. And that Boston College used to be a really good college, so I don't know how she got through school and learned nothing. It's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, it's, I'll say this. I'm not college educated, and I'm sure she's probably more educated, book smart than I am. You know what I'm saying?
No. Don't say that. No. Just because she went to college and had to buy books doesn't mean she necessarily read them. Or understood what she was reading. No, don't think that at all.
No, that's true.
Please. Yeah. No, when I hear her talk, and this is somebody, if you read a lot, you have a good vocabulary, and you're able to express yourself, and you're able to tackle complex ideas, because your brain has been trained to think like that. Her brain has never been trained to think like that. So I don't know how she got through 4 years of college, but whatever she was doing, I can't see that she was studying. And reading and develop and trying to figure out these concepts and see how they all kind of fit together. I don't know. I don't see that at all. I have not seen any evidence of that whatsoever. Period. None. So don't say that. No, you're probably you're way smarter than she is. Shit.
Well, because my thing is just I've dealt with people all my life. You know what I'm saying? And when I say dealt with people, I'm talking about dealt with people, in various jobs I've had, and, things, and, sometimes you can get an idea of what people are about just by just by talking to them and listening to them, and hearing them talk, hearing how they express themselves, listen to the tone of their voice, I know people, there's several kinds of people. There's people that, are able to pick up on what you tell them, how you word things. Like, I know one time I was showing a video because I wanted to see if this individual could pay attention. And he actually surprised me because he did, right? So I want you to see this thing in a show called America's Dumbest Criminals, right? Well, see, he picked up on the words America's Dumbest Criminals. Like, no, this isn't going to happen to that person. They don't call the show Dumbest Criminals for a reason, right?
Right.
So I could tell that he paid attention to what I was talking about, And sometimes people can have the wisdom to see what you're talking about, even though they may not catch it, but they can grasp it. You know what I'm saying? They can grasp how you're trying to talk to them. Like I know, like when you listen to some of these leftists talk, and they don't really have any facts. Like they say, well, the corporations are greedy, which is true to a point, but they don't understand that corporations, like, say if they make a $2 billion profit, but their budget is like $1.5 billion, then that means they got $500,000 that they got to put away. They got to put away that money for, let's say, like a retail business. Retail businesses have to budget for lawsuits. They have to budget for, whatever benefits they offer their people, and they ship things around and around. These liberals don't understand that these companies, have, even though they got money in the bank, it doesn't mean that they can just get taxed the living daylights out of.
Well, no, because they have money in the bank. It's known as retained earnings, so that, like, say you get a new competitor on the block and he's doing stuff and you start losing business, and suddenly you got to do more advertising, or you got to change your format if it's a clothing business or something, or, styles change. I mean, you got to have money in the bank to be able to do, you got to build a new, you got to buy new equipment or anything like that. I mean, yeah, just because, a corporation has a lot of money in the bank doesn't necessarily mean, like, hey, it's all like going in somebody's pocket. I mean, you gotta, like even God, I'm a small business, but I always make it a point to try to, save for a rainy day. You don't know,
Yeah.
next month and the month after what's gonna, coming down the pipe. You gotta have money put back to
Mhm.
feel that, so you're not like zeroed out every week or zeroed out every month even.
Yeah.
You're thinking like
Yeah.
ahead at least 3 months. It's like you could, okay, if the shit hits the
Mhm.
fan for the
Yeah.
next 3 months, what's gonna happen?
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, because it's like when you have these people who have the what is it like? There's some of these CEOs that you watch them. They come in and they might have a like a sign-on bonus or something like that. Hold on one second.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Like let's say they get a sign-on bonus, right, or something like that. Um, you know, I can see like a small talking point on like let's say because I know like some liberals will say, well, why should a CEO get a $35 million departure bonus? I can understand that. You know what I mean?
Well,
Because
it's part of
essentially,
his part of his pay package that he signed up for when he joined the company. There's certain CEOs who do it better than
Mhm.
others, and you get the right
Yeah.
CEO, and then of course and then also the right CEO will help be able to get financing. Like banks will lend. Hey, we know this guy. He was over like at Ford Motor Company.
Mhm.
Now he's over here at Purina or whatever. We know him. He's got a good track record. We know that if with him running the company, it's going to be a low risk for us to loan them money. We're going to get paid back.
Yeah.
That's worth a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
The few CEOs that run the like the top 100 companies in this country, you know, these
Mhm.
guys are, they're really in high demand because they can make or break a company by just coming in. Lee Iacocca at
Yeah.
Chrysler, him coming in, saving Chrysler, getting that. I mean, the government bailed him out. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
Lee Iacocca coming in,
Mhm.
bailing Chrysler out, and getting that to be an
Yeah.
up and going company and actually a very profitable one. I mean, some of these guys
Yeah.
just do it really, really good. They do a really good job of it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, because some of mhm.
if they weren't worth
Oh
it,
no, go
remember
ahead.
now, yeah, if they weren't worth it, like these big companies, they have a board of directors, and they have shareholders, and
Yeah.
generally on something like this, the board of directors have to approve it. Well, the board of directors
Mhm.
definitely have to approve it without a doubt, and they're
Yeah.
answerable to the
Mhm.
shareholders, and there's like a generally big blocks of shareholders, guys who own a lot of shares. And they're like, well, let's make sure we get the right guy. And they say, well, okay, and they know they're answerable to these guys, and they're like, yeah, okay. And
Yeah.
a lot of the board of directors are the major shareholders of the company anyway. So that's how they get to be on the board of directors
Yeah.
because you vote by the number of shares you have, and you vote for yourself. And you get a few friends that vote for you too, and you're on the board of directors. Then you hire the CEOs, you hire
Yeah.
the president, vice president, et cetera. So it's part of their pay package. When they leave, the pay package says if you leave, and we're gonna, you get an end bonus of this. If you stay on for so many
Yeah.
years and the company's this profitable
Mhm.
or not profitable, or whatever the case may be, you get this much money. It's part of their pay package. And
Yeah.
so instead of paying them on the
Yeah.
front end, which is expensive, you get to pay them
Mhm.
on the back end. That's all it is.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah. Now that I think about it like that, it does make sense. Because some of these CEOs, like I mean, because most CEOs, if you actually look at them, some of them really don't need the money. A lot of times they'll try to turn a company around because it's a challenge for them. They like to test their skills and see. Because I know some of these companies that are CEOs that have gone into some of these failing businesses, and they're just like few ideas here or there, and bam, they've got it back on its feet. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, sometimes they won't even take that, that big bonus because they just wanted to see if they could turn that company around.
Yeah.
But if you look at, like I know that like you look at the NRA and you look at Judicial Watch, you look at the difference between Tom Fitton and Wayne LaPierre. Well, I don't know, is Wayne LaPierre still head of the NRA? You don't really hear much about him anymore.
No, I think that one woman. I think that one woman's running the NRA now, isn't she? Don't they have a woman in there, a CEO? I mean, I don't. I
It's
really
been a
don't.
while, but
Yeah, I really
mhm.
don't. I don't really don't follow the NRA that much. I mean, I remember when I was a kid.
Mhm.
I haven't been a member since I was a kid, to be honest with you. But I mean, I like the work they do. But
Yeah,
no,
but
I don't know who's running it right now. To be honest with you, I have no idea.
but if you look at Tom Fitton, let's compare him to Wayne LaPierre, right? I know you say you don't follow the NRA, but you look at Tom Fitton. Tom Fitton is more than just the CEO or the president of Judicial Watch. He gets out there and he does interviews. He does he does speaking, speakerships.
Right.
He's actually probably one of the few individuals who actually leads by example. I mean, I love Tom Fitton. He's
a real cool guy. I watch his site every once in a while. He kind of when he explains
Mm-hmm.
what they're doing, all the work they're doing and stuff. So no, I like watching him.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
And they've grown. Judicial Watch has grown. I mean, they're.
Oh wait, hold it. Yeah, Talise, thank you. Dana Loesch is the head of the NRA.
Dana Loesch.
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce her
Did
name.
Dana Loesch take over? Oh,
that's what Talise says.
She's a hardcore.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, that name does sound familiar. So I think Talise, hit the nail on the head on that one.
Yeah, she was a spokeswoman, I think, for the NRA, but she might have taken over. I don't know. I haven't really seen, in a while. But they have a lot of these different, did you ever see? I don't know if you saw an interview with Bill Lamar and Colin Newar. Bill Lamar was such a, oh my God, he's like, oh. And he's. I mean, I think Colin Newar kept his cool because he knew what he was getting into because he's a conservative. He actually appeals to the more millennial conservative base. Because he's a big gun enthusiast, and I think you don't really hear much about him nowadays. I mean, you do, but I don't really follow him a whole lot.
Okay.
But he was doing an interview with. Have you ever heard of Colin Newar?
No.
But he was doing an interview with Bill Lamar, and Bill Lamar, said, well, when I think of the NRA, I think of, Wayne LaPierre. He's like, oh, no offense, but you could tell Bill Lamar was just, trying to, coerce him into some kind of, debate. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm like, Colin Newar, kept his cool, and I got to give him credit, because, Bill Lamar. I mean, it's really strange because he actually defended Laura Ingraham.
You mean Bill Maher? Bill Maher, you mean? Bill Maher?
Yeah, Bill Maher, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's defended Laura Ingraham, and he's actually defended Alex Jones a couple of times, too.
Well, he's in favor of free speech because, remember, he got zapped back in 2001 because when he made that mention about, like, the cruise missiles, he said something like it was they said, they kept calling Al Qaeda, they kept calling Al Qaeda like cowards, and he goes, well, I don't think it's cowardly to kill yourself to fly a plane into a building. I think it's cowardly to fire a cruise missile from a ship, 200 miles away by pushing a button.
Mm-hmm.
And then he got zapped. I mean, because he had that one show. What was it called? It was called.
I haven't followed Bill Lamar in a long time. I vaguely.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the show he had back in the early 2000s, but yeah, that show, it was a pretty popular show, and then after that, all his sponsors pulled off. They'd gone, and they yanked his show. I mean, he had nothing. He was, like, gone. But he was, so he knows what it's like to get zapped by saying the wrong thing or saying something people don't like to hear. So he believes, like, hey, look, if you don't like what this person says, just don't watch him. But you don't need to do you don't have to do a boycott on him or like in the case of Jones, kick him off the internet, take away his livelihood. If you don't like him, don't watch him. The people who like him and watch him, okay, and whatever. I mean, people watch Bill Maher. I mean, I used to watch Bill Maher back when he was sane, and then after Trump got the nomination, he just went insane. I mean, literally, it was almost night to day.
Well, everybody went.
Yeah, I mean, he really went. He really went over the deep end. It was unbelievable. I mean, I used to watch the show. I'll tell you, it was every Friday night. Every Friday night, it was on at I think I want to say 7 or 8 at on Fridays on HBO. I used to watch it live, and then he just went. He went totally insane, and now he just says some really crazy, stupid shit. And but a lot of people who I used to watch, I can't watch anymore. I mean, because the things they bring up are just they're so hateful and spiteful. They hate the president so much. They just can't stand him, because, we thought we were done with, like, the white man running shit. That was the whole thing. And then, then here comes the most obnoxious white man you could possibly imagine, and now he's running shit. And it's like, the white male patriarchy is still here. The white male patriarchy is still here. We got to get rid of it. I thought we were done with the white male patriarchy. And, oh, my God, look, the most obnoxious, guy we possible could have been, elected president representing the white male patriarchy gets elected. So they're like, oh, my God, hell has come here. We're in hell.
Yeah. if you notice how the culture war has shifted, like the globalists were trying to, they're trying to demonize all white people and, all this stuff, right? Now, if you notice that they've shifted from, even though they still push all the racism, if you notice they're actually shifting their fight more against the conservative, because the minorities, the minorities turned out to be there were a lot more minorities conservative than they probably anticipated. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
because
yeah.
They themselves they have made so many mistakes. See, if they had gone, like, let's say, like, for example, Trump got elected and they had just gone back into the shadows, okay, let Trump do his thing. He's probably going to serve a second term, which I believe he will serve a second term.
Right.
And then 10 or 15 years later, they could have just, done their thing and they would have had their thing. But no, they decided to expose themselves like they did. And they're people are getting woken up and people are seeing what is happening. And people are starting to, question what they have been told, you learn something new every day.
And that's what happened. In other words, they went too far. Okay, they went too far.
Yeah.
This country again, for almost its entire history, has either been a center-right country or a center-left country. Okay, as far as who gets elected president, it's always been center-right, center-left. The policies the American people embrace have always been center-right or center-left. They haven't been far-right and they haven't been far-left. At the height of the Depression, the worst possible economic collapse in this country's history, and it's mainly because of the history of this country. The most between the Communist Party and the Nazi Party, American Nazi Party, the most they were getting, as far as support, total between the two of them was only 25%. So whereas Europe was going full-blown communism or full-blown fascism, the most this country ever supported at the worst possible time where you think there would be lots of support for these fringe groups, either on the right or the left, the most they got totally combined was 25%. 75% of the people in this country said no. And generally, the fringe elements of this country, now the far left is actually becoming mainstream. It's kind of hard to distinguish between who's far left, who's a far leftist.
Yeah, the liberals are.
The liberals are. Well, Pelosi is a liberal, but she's having to pander to the far left. Albeit, I think she's getting a little tired of this Cortez chick because she didn't pander to her on this Green New Deal thing. She didn't pander to her at all on that
Cortez,
one.
If you look at what they're doing with Cortez, they're actually trying to bump her into a position of power, because if you look at some of Pelosi's policies and talking points, she's kind of keeping the progressives at bay, because she understands that the progressives will only rally Trump's base even more, because, see, here's the thing, here's the big question, right? How many people, and we all know it's going to be, you have people who are disenfranchised with Trump, but then you also have people who are jumping on the Trump train. The question is, but I do believe those people who jumped off the Trump train will come back, 2020, because who are you going to vote for? Kamala Harris, Cory Booker?
Right.
I sure as hell ain't voting for no progressive.
Well, especially since, and this actually shocked me because, and I'm kind of upset because I've been predicting Kamala Harris can get the Democratic nomination, and then it really shocks the shit out of me when she goes ahead and signs off on this Green New Deal. I'm like, my God, Cory Booker I could see signing off on it, all these other idiots, but I figured with her, she wouldn't just knee-jerk sign off on something stupid like this. But she did, and so, it goes to show you maybe she's not as bright as I thought she was.
The Green New Deal is a good way for a civil war to start happening the next day, because if you're going to destroy people's livelihoods like that, and you're going to say, well, you can't fly on a plane, you can't drive a car, see, what I don't understand, these progressives, why don't they do what the Amish do? Get off the grid, live your life, because the Amish are probably more environmentally, with the way they live and the way they do things, they're more environmental friendly than some of these people who claim to be environmentalists,
Yeah.
Because, let's say somebody like me, okay, I'll be the first to admit it. I can't do it. I couldn't live without a cell phone or video games or, you know what I'm saying? I could not do it. There was no way in hell that I could do it. I mean, I am admitting this right now. I cannot do it,
right.
Because these are the things that I enjoy doing,
right.
I mean, kudos to anybody who can do it, but I guarantee you these progressives and liberals, they can't do it, so why don't they, I mean, they're in Japan. I believe, I could be wrong on this, and do correct me if I'm wrong, Carl, but in Japan, there's like an island, I think, that they still live in the 18th century, because, because the effects of Hiroshima were bad. I mean, obviously they were, but psychologically, there were a lot of people scarred and, from it. And from that, I think arose like an 18th century or something, like town where they still do things, blacksmith and everything. They live off the grid.
So in other words, after Hiroshima, they just said, the hell with technology, the hell with the modern world. It caused this terrible disaster, so we're just going to live off the grid.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know the name of the place. I could be wrong on this, but I've heard it mentioned a time or two, and just people that I've met.
Yeah.
But it's like the same thing here. You have people who, it's like, I'm not talking like Alaskan bush people type thing, but you do have people who, live off the grid, because they were victims of technology in one way or another. If you look at that story that Tucker Carlson did a while back, how these CEO, like these coastal elites, these people who run these big tech companies, they don't let their kids play with technology. Well, because they know that technology, obviously is brainwashing.
Right.
I'm guilty of walking around on my, looking at my phone and walking around, but I do make an effort to put it down and have a conversation with, with family and things like that,
Right.
But I think because of the world we live in is so polarized with technology and so polarized with, social media that, the very thing that these globalists try to use is working against them. That's why they're trying to, ban. I don't really know if you could say ban like like ban people and things like that, and well, yes, like things like that. They have that. What is it? The oh God, what's the word I'm looking for? They trying to think of what it is. I'm trying to find the words to say, but oh God, I'm sorry, Carl. It's late.
That's okay, man. I tell you what, I'm pretty much going to get ready to. I've been on for about 3 hours right now, and
oh wow, okay.
Yeah, no, that's totally cool, man. And so I've been on for like 3 hours, and I gotta get up early in the morning and stuff. So, I'm pretty much gonna I'm gonna call it a night myself. And so, Mr. Douchebag, I want to thank you.
Can I ask one last thing?
Yeah, of course. Please go right ahead, man.
Thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you? I believe, what's interesting, I've been hearing some numbers about the border wall, 2 million, 2.5 billion, no, 2 billion, 2.5 billion. So it kind of looks like they might be striking some kind of a deal,
I heard that too.
Barriers.
Yeah, I heard that too. The Washington Times were reporting that. But a lot of Democrats are saying we're not going to give any money that's designated for a barrier. But it looks like they are striking some kind of a deal, but it's going to be real low number.
Yeah.
It's going to be low enough where the Democrats can say, oh, he didn't get what he wanted. But it's going to be something so the Republicans say, well, at least we got you something. And that's how it's going to get done.
I think he'll probably take it, because if he can get it started, because there's funds in place other places, and I think that's what they're looking at. So I think it's going to happen. You know what I mean? Because I don't think that they want to see a national emergency happen.
Well, everybody's afraid about him declaring a national emergency, including his own people, because again, it can be terminated by a joint resolution of Congress, by a veto-proof majority of Congress in both houses, 2/3 of both houses, and I think the president's team is afraid that they'll find 20 Republicans in the Senate and enough Republicans in the House to vote a veto-proof majority on the issue. I mean, they just came. The Senate just came in with a 68 person vote, a resolution to say we shouldn't be pulling out of Afghanistan or Syria. I'm pretty sure that's what they're voting on. So they're pretty much letting the president know that the Republicans in the Senate are letting, hey, we're not going to go. We may not go along with this national emergency thing, and we may limit you on it. And that would be the optics, and that would be disastrous. I think politically speaking, it probably helped Trump, because he said, man, I even went and declared a national emergency, and the Republicans in the Senate, knocked me down. But it would still be bad for him in that it would be like, well, gee, Trump's all by himself. Nobody likes him. Everybody thinks he's stupid. So he'd have to be appealing to he'd be having to do a lot more. Let's put it this way. He'd be out doing a lot more rallies, like every other week probably, to go talk to the people and say, hey, these people in Congress, these people are morons. I can't believe how they got in there. You
Yeah.
know, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh
but
yeah.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
I've heard some numbers bouncing around though. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it'll be good. I think it'll be good. You know, I mean, it's a start. You know what I mean? But well, Carl, have a good night, and hopefully you doing another one tomorrow, another show tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm trying to do one tonight. The
Mm-hmm.
only person I don't want to bounce on because I watch it myself, is Axe.
Mm-hmm.
So I always try to keep track of
Uh-huh.
when he's going to do a live show. So then I kind of work it around there.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I got that full time job. I do that attorney thing.
Oh yeah.
So that kind of limits me on when I
Mm-hmm.
can do it. Sometimes, like today, I did it earlier. A lot of times, it won't even be starting till around 8:30 or 9. It all depends just on
Mm-hmm.
my work schedule controls. That's my passion. Being a lawyer, that's my passion. That's what I love doing. That's what I don't work 8 to 5. I work a lot of hours. I work weekends and stuff. That's my main passion. And then I love doing this, but my main passion is being a lawyer. So I always have to kind of work around
Oh yeah.
that. Then
Yeah.
I keep track of when Axe is doing his live shows, and I make sure I'm not going on the same time he is. But yeah, so
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Because he's starting to.
yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to do one. I'm trying to do one a night whenever
Mm-hmm.
I can do it, and go on for at least like 2 hours, because an hour everybody's just kind of
Mm-hmm.
getting warmed up, and I think at least 2 hours is good. And if it goes 3 hours, I went like 3.5 the other night. I like that. I like
Mm-hmm.
good conversation, and I like talking about I love politics. I love all this kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
So. But hey,
Yeah.
all right,
Oh
Mr.
yeah.
Douchebag, thank you so much for calling in. As always, great
Oh
phone
yeah.
call. Thank you so much, man.
Oh yeah. You too. All right. Take care.
Bye bye.
All right.
And that was, in fact, the great douchebag. And I just want to thank everybody in the chat room. That'd be F for Real, Amy D, Voltron, Amy D. I know I'm going to miss somebody. I'm going to hate myself for doing it. Black and Irish chick, biracial goddess. And see, Talise, Talise, of course, with the call in as well. And Laylo, of course, with the call in as well. And Voltron with the call in. And of course, Mr. Great Douchebag with a call in. And see, I'm scrolling up here. Let's see. Knowing Your Business. Oh, Knowing Your Business. And yes, I will be subscribing to Knowing Your Business's site and hitting the little bell so I can get notification when she goes on. I definitely want to be checking that out for sure. So I'll definitely be subscribing to Nonya. And I want to thank Nonya again. Thank you so much, Nonya. I did not know you had a live stream going, and then you yanked your live stream and shot you and all the people watching you over here. So that was super, super kind. A big shout out to Nonya Business. Great. And thanks to Effie Real and see who else went, and Talise Williams for winning the prize on the Apocalypse Now, and Lawrence Fishburne answer to the what do you call it? The quiz? I don't know. There's a word for that. I can't remember what that is. And let's see. I mentioned Laylo. Yep. And everybody. If I missed somebody, I apologize. But Laura Sanders. Oh my God, shit! Christ, she was like the first one on tonight. And thank you, Laura Sanders and Lucky Sport. Thank you so much. And International Nin. Well, it's Ithel Nin. So I'm thinking like I want to say International Nin, but I should say Ithel Nin. Thank you, Mr. Ithel Nin, for coming on board and joining the chat. And let's see, make sure I don't miss anybody. I think that's about, well, that's probably, yep, yeah. And I said, yeah, Black and Irish Crazy Chick Biracial Goddess. Thank you again for also coming on. So anyway, guys, thanks so much. Have a great night. And wait, hold on. I'll do the closing time statement. Yeah, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Well, no, you can stay here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna end this like I normally always do, and shoot you guys a little bit of music. And let's get this going right here. So boom, and bang, and let's find some music for you. Boom. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you liked it, hit the like button, and if you're new here, hit the subscribe button. And thanks for everybody who's watching now and who'll be watching later. Thanks, guys. Bye bye.
flies when you get it right. So hold on tight to me. Love like we never grew up, and live like you just get one tonight. We're kings and queens. One blink and it's over. Wake up and we're older tonight. We're kings and queens. Stop, take a breath, close your eyes, remember this. Oh, 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 it's beautiful. Love like we never grew up, and live like you just get one tonight. We're kings and queens. One blink and it's over. Wake up and we're older tonight. We're kings and queens. Time flies when you get it right. So hold on tight to me. Love like we never grew up, and live like you just get one tonight. We're kings and queens. One blink and it's over. Wake up and we're older tonight. We're kings and queens. it's no